What's up, guys? It's your boy, James Fraser, with another episode of the Northern Knock podcast, the podcast bringing a spotlight to the best of the best when it comes to Canadian door knockers. And we are back with a special episode. The knocking season is over, so we're back dropping videos, and we got our boy, Ty Dayton, fresh off a golden door. Literally hit it 2 days ago. We're going to pick his brain. Ty, how you doing today, man?
Feeling good, man. Appreciate you. And I'm honored to be the first of this season on the Northern Knock podcast. So I'm excited.
Man, I've been envisioning this for a long time. Like when we were in season, obviously that's when I stopped focusing as much on the podcast, but I've always had it in my mind that we're going to go out there, we're going to hit our golden doors. And as soon as you hit yours, we're going to be here. So, yeah, bro, pleasure to have you, man.
Yeah, man, for sure.
It's been a journey. So I'm excited to break it all down with you. And, yeah, man, let's get right into it. So a lot of people don't know you like I do. So I'm going to ask you some questions that I kind of already know. But let's just start with your upbringing, right? I always like to ask this question because I always like to know, what kind of experiences you have that shapes you to become an elite sales rep. So talk to us about that. Where are you from? What's your upbringing? And what were some things that happened that led you to, become an elite salesman?
Yeah, so I'm actually born and raised in Langley, Vancouver, Canada, obviously. Yeah, I got 3 brothers. I think that's the number one thing that I always mention right away, because like I'd be nothing without my brothers. Just the way that they pushed me, especially Cade, my twin brother, how he like basically runs my everything for me. He's like my personal assistant at this point. But no, I mean, we were obviously very athletic growing up and competitive in that, and we just beat the crap out of each other nonstop growing up. And I think that competitiveness translated to sales very well. Obviously, when we look for people to hire, that's a huge thing that we look for if they're athletic or in sports. But yeah, just went to high school, got kicked out of a couple of them, ended up in Surrey, and then eventually locked in, went to university. And then I was there for about a year and a half just at Trinity Western. And then eventually I was like, hey, I think I can go all in, treat this as a career. So decided to leave, and now I'm here.
Love it, man. So obviously come from a sports background. You played rugby at a high level. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I switched from hockey to like bodybuilding basically, and I just got like jacked. And then I switched from that to rugby, and I just always had the mentality that if I'm going to do something, I'm just going to give my all. So I was like, on the field, first one on, last one to leave, and was watching videos and talking to people who knew their stuff, and then eventually just put the training into action and went to university. Then I played Canada Sevens, went to New Zealand, traveled to the UK, and I loved rugby, but then I lost a love for it when I guess it got too positional. You're just doing one thing back and forth nonstop, and I missed the freestyle. But it was fun. I mean, I absolutely love rugby. I think it's like a manly sport. You just go out and you just kill someone, and it just makes you feel like that's the only part I miss. But
It's manly, but it's also gentleman.
Of course, man.
It's not like soccer.
Buy them a beer after, shake their hand. You don't ever talk to the ref. You
can't talk to the
not
ref.
Like soccer.
Okay, cool. So you got recruited to Trinity Western University.
Yep.
Right? Scholarship?
Yes, of course.
Cool. And you and your brother, right?
Yeah. So Cade was with me.
Nice.
And we got academic scholarships as well. Like we got the 90% average in some bull crap courses, but we got it. We kind of messed with the system a little bit, and was able to go for basically free our first year. And then Cade went for free his second semester, and then I paid like $1,000.
Nice.
Basically.
So you did 1 year at Trinity on the rugby team?
I did a year and a half, like 3 semesters basically.
Okay.
And it was crazy, like 6 a.m. practices in the snow. But I love the boys that I played rugby with. I still talk to some of them time to time.
For sure. Okay. And then talk to us about your recruiting story. So how did you find Aveda? Just so you guys know, me and Ty, we work with the same company, Aveda Pest Control. We're not in the same office, but Ty, he's in my sales region, and he was literally just down the hallway. So we both worked in the same city this year. competed in all the same competitions, saw each other a lot. So we're pretty close. So we went through the whole journey together. But tell us about your recruiting story out of the job fair, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff I'm going to say you already know, but just for the people that are watching, I was actually going to gym, like I was hitting the gym with my rugby team, and I was late, and I was like walking there, and I was, you know, in a bit of a rush. And then I look over to like this job fair that I had no idea that was going on at my school, and I see Juan Diaz. He's watching this.
Shout out Juan.
Love that guy. His baby's what, 4 months old now?
Yep. Yep.
That's so cool. Anyways, I see that he had a bunch of Red Bulls, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go grab this Red Bull." I go over. I said, "Hey, what I need to get one?" He's like, "Just take one." And I was like, "Sweet, I gotta get going." He's like, "Wait, before you go." He starts selling me, and I'm just like, I was the biggest red turned to a green. I was like, "Man, I don't want to hear any stuff. I don't need any. I don't need any work." At the time, I was running a car detailing business with my brother, and it was like going pretty well. So I was like, "I'm fine, man." Then he's like, "Well, you can make a lot of money," and I was like, "Okay, how much?" And he's like, "The top rookie made this much," and I was like, "Okay, I don't care about the average. Like, what did the top guy do?" And he's like, "X." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna beat that." And he's like, "Okay, well, come do it, man. Come try it out." I was like, "Done." So I finished like all the training within a couple of days. Went through like the interview, and then I just basically when season started, I actually knocked I think 3 weeks in preseason, threw myself out at the doors, and the first day I went out, I did 3 sales, and that's when I realized, like, I think I could see myself doing this.
So was it literally in a split second decision of like, I'm going to do this? Like, what was it about what Juan explained? And by the way, thank God Juan got through that initial smoke screen from you, right? What if he just let you walk away? That'd be crazy. Your whole
I
life would
wouldn't
be
be here,
different.
man.
But what was it that Juan said? Like, what did you just like latch onto right away where you're like, I love that? Like, was it the commission side of it? Was it the competition side of it? Like, what is it that just kind of,
I think what it is I just love doing things that no one else does, and obviously a big one is the commission, because when he said to me, "Whatever you put in is what you put out," instantly I'm thinking, okay, well, I can work like a slave, man. I can just grind every single day, no problem. And if I can mix that with a skill, and it's like building a skill set, I was like, this just makes sense. So in my head, I was like, you know, if you want to beat the matrix, you got to be doing something different, something special. So I was instantly sold. I was like, whatever it was, you can make 30 grand in a summer. And I was like, no way, man. Like, I'm done. Like, let's do it. Let's do it. So
yeah,
I was a pretty easy, you know, that's why you go through the smoke screens, man. I was a green.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was just kind of like, you know,
Right. Okay. And then, yeah, I still remember that first day where you showed up, Starbucks,
yeah.
Surrey. Um, like what was going through your mind then? Were you just ready to roll? You had your pitch memorized, like good to go. I mean, you sold 3 that day. Is that right?
Yeah. And I think, you know, I do always say, like, you know, there's nothing special about me and anyone can do it. And I say that a lot because I generally believe that, you know, these crazy numbers that people are hitting, it's not that crazy when you really break it down. But I think the biggest thing that I was thinking about is I was like, wait, so how much money you make? I was talking to Bruno. Shout out to Bruno and Waleed. And I was like, sorry, you sold 3 yesterday. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so that's how much like revenue? He's like, oh, like 2,800. I make 40% of that. And I was like, so you could literally buy an iPhone every single day? And he's like, well, yeah, I guess. And I was like, okay, this is unreal. But I think I've always been like a little bit more like outgoing. The first door that I knocked, it was like super weird. I remember I shadowed Juan for a couple hours and then he let me go. And the first door that I knocked, the guy was just drilling me with questions. He was like, didn't even buy, but he was just like, okay, so what do you do for this? Why does this work for the ants? What did the ants do? And for some reason, it just felt so natural. I was just like, you know, making stuff up as I go. But I was just the confidence that I had. It was like, it just kind of made sense. And then I talked to the neighbor. I sold him. I didn't even know how to sign people up. That's one thing I didn't train on. And then I went down the street, signed up another neighbor that was literally selling his house. And then I signed up this one guy. He ended up canceling before it got serviced. I think he was high, but it was like a $300 quarterly account because I just didn't know how much to charge for rats and mice. And he said he had them all under his deck. But after that day, I was like, once you do it, it's like, now that it's possible, you just got to compound on it, right? And it was like,
Yeah.
I can actually do this,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun thing when you understand the opportunity, when you start to realize like, okay, like you said, 40% of this amount of revenue I get to keep.
Yeah.
And you start to really like think about it and start to understand the opportunity that you have. That's when you can really go all in on it, right?
100%.
So first day went well. Rookie season, not to skip past everything, but top rookie of the year, you did 200K, just over. Is that right?
Like 210, yeah.
210. Obviously a great rookie year. Talk to us about, in a nutshell, like how your rookie year was, how you were able to be top rookie. I know you have a couple insights on that.
No, I mean, I think it's important to look at like the rookie season, because that's obviously kind of what forms you. If you kind of slug around on your rookie season, you got to make a huge change for your second year, especially for the goal that I was going for this year. I appreciate the work that I put in last summer, because it just built that confidence for me to go, it's a crazy goal, but realistically, work 2 times harder, 2 times longer, I should be able to get it done. But in my rookie season, like when I first started, I think I started the season with like 13,000 service revenue from those 3 weeks. 50% SSP when I first started to call myself out. But I think it was just different. I almost got put in the leadership position right away, as there was a lot of rookies last summer, like a lot. We didn't have as many leaders as we do nowadays. So I was almost like, people looked up to me that were also rookies, and I was like, I'm new, man. I don't know what I'm doing, right? But I had, I guess, 20 sales at the time, and all these people had zero, and they're just starting out. So instead of, I mean, they all came to me for questions and, hey, what are you doing? How are you selling so many so quick? So I already kind of went into that like position of, okay, I'm able to help people out, which obviously translate to making more sales. And I also had, I wanted to get my twin brother on board. He was still running our car detailing business. We had like a client book that he was kind of getting done by himself. And I was like, man, I got to grind and make sure that he's able to come. And it was 3 weeks into the job where I sold my first 10-day, where he was like, I was like, bro, I made like $4,000 today. Like, get out here. And he's like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it took so long. But in terms of the whole summer, I think it was a big one was competing against you.
Right.
And I do talk about this quite a bit, like having a delusional mindset. Like, still, you got to be, a realist, but in the same sense, being delusional can actually like set you pretty far ahead. Because when I first started coming out, I was looking at you and I was like, I want to compete against you. And it was kind of when I hit like maybe 70 or 80,000 service revenue, where I was like, you're like 300K or something like that. It was just ridiculous. But it was just every day I saw you sell, I was like trying my best to get close. And there was a few days where I beat you, and those were like, all right, there we go. Right. But I think having that delusional mindset of being a rookie and going against like a 5-year vet is what kind of set me ahead, because that's not a normal thing to do. Right. It's kind of mental. But yeah, I think that just kind of carried on throughout the summer, and I was able to finish up. And once I hit 200K, um, I just didn't really have a goal. And I think goal setting is so important. I was just like, well, my goal was to hit 200K, and I hit it. So the last 3 weeks was just not good, especially transitioning into going to university. We started playing rugby. So I think I could have done a lot more, but even now I'm, finished the golden door, I still think, looking back, I could have done a lot more, and you never lose that feeling.
Right. Yeah, no, we'll get into that more, but yeah, goals are super important. And I love what you said. I think like something that almost plagues our industry is, we give rookies so much hype when they first start, as we should, right? It's like a super hard industry. They sell 3 in a week. It's like, hell yeah, dude. But you do that as a sophomore and a vet, now you're on, the standard list, right? But I think like after a certain point, halfway through the summer, then especially as a rookie, it's really important not to lean and fall back on that. You have to look at yourself as a competitive person that's competing with everyone in the company, right?
And to add to that, I think another thing that I left out was understanding the opportunity.
Mm.
And, growing up, I didn't dream about being a door-to-door salesman, but I mean, now that the opportunity was put out in front of me, I just kind of analyzed it and I was like, okay, I could literally sell one a day in a 10-hour shift. Come on, I can do that, right? Even as a rookie, one a day for a whole summer and I can make 30 grand. And it's like, it's a no brainer. So I think that a lot of people that don't work their hours or don't sell a lot, I think it's not so much a skill issue or necessarily a manager's issue. It's more just them not understanding the opportunity that they've been given. And that's kind of what drove me, especially when there's growth opportunity. You don't have a job in the real world nowadays where there's that much, it's that incentivized to better yourself, to better the people around you. And there's absolutely no gain that you get from having someone in your office not do well or anyone else in even another office. It's like, that's an atmosphere that I want to be in. I want to be with everyone just wanting to get better. And it's a good group of guys that we have to do that. So
Yeah, I think like top performers, they're able to like not conform to the, the masses of the group in terms of like understanding that opportunity. I think like the thing that, you know, puts people off in terms of working the hours and grinding and, going all in is that majority of the office will, you know, not work September, not work October. Majority of the office will slow down when the office slows down, right? And they're not thinking on an individual level of like, hey, this is an amazing opportunity. I should really put all my effort into this, right? Yeah, it's interesting. But anyways, you did your rookie year 200K, and then what were the kind of steps of you leading into this golden door? And just a preface, I know there was an important moment that happened. Shout out to Arjun Manhas. I believe I'll let you tell the story, but it was at our legacy year-end event on a boat where that seed first kind of got planted. So tell us about that.
yeah, huge shout out. I mean, yeah, so I mean, to be fair, at the time, I thought I was just going to work a summer again. I was still like in my third semester of university. So I did think I was just doing a summer, but he basically just said, "You're selling yourself short," right? I was like, "Yeah, I'm going for," I guess I said like 400K. So just the double method. And he's like, "Why aren't you for a golden door, man? Like, you got something." And obviously the first thing I'm thinking is, he's just saying it. But I mean, he didn't benefit anything off of me doing it or not. So I think it was just him being real. And yeah, it wasn't like at that moment I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. But it was something where it started to get the gears turning. I was like, okay. And then I think the biggest thing was, I don't want to jump all over the place, but um, I was talking to Cade, my twin brother. I was like, hey, we're going to finish this year of university, right? Well, originally we were going to finish our degrees, but I was like, hey, we're going to at least finish this year. And then it went from the year to let's finish a semester. And then it was just unbearable, man. It was like, holy crap. But I was still down to finish the semester, right? And which would have dug into our preseason. But I was watching him on a rugby game and he's walking out. And after a full game of rugby, I say, hey, is it recording?
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, after the game, he was walking out, and I was like, "Hey man, like good game. Let's go fist pound him." He walks right past me, doesn't even make eye contact, and just goes, "We're dropping out." And then obviously he's my brother. I can't let him do that alone. So we did it. We were like, I was living in a car for 2 weeks, uh, basement suite to basement suite for a couple months. But then that's when I realized, I said, okay, well, I burnt all my ships. I got nobody. I got nothing going for me. Let's just go all in. And the biggest thing that kind of switched was I made the decision and I made it public. And shout out to Jason Steigert. It's on his podcast when I was at zero. And I was like, hey, I'm doing it. And I'm a man of my word. I'm not a coward. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And without even fully understanding, without talking to you nearly enough as I should have, understanding how hard it was going to be, or really I don't know how crazy the goal actually is. I just said I was going to do it. And if it's hard, it's hard. If there's some things that I missed that was going to get in the way of speed bumps, I'm just going to have to suck it up and do it because I said I was going to do it. So,
Okay, so you publicly declare it on a podcast. that gives you a little bit of pressure. And then along the way, right, you're in a basement suite, but there was a call that you made to me in January. I still remember I was in a Home Depot parking lot. I don't know what I was doing, but I remember calling and just pacing the parking lot for a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And it was just basically mapping it all out. And the key thing that really gave me confidence that you're going to hit this, and maybe there's a learning moment in this, is you were prepared to do whatever it took, especially in terms of starting early and would be willing to go till end of year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do remember that phone call, and obviously, huge shout out to you. You have got your flowers enough. I'm joking, but I think I think that call was super important. And then, I mean, at the time it was 650K, right? We weren't even talking 750K. It was 650, and I was
Right.
still like, holy crap. But yeah, I mean, you kind of laid it out, and you let me know what you had to do, and I think seeing you struggle last summer, finish or last postseason, I guess, finishing it, that was the biggest thing for me, because obviously I look up to you and I'm like, James Fraser's the GOAT. And if he struggled, then how hard is it going to be for me? It's going to be 2 times harder. So that's why I started early, because I knew that I would probably have to work a little bit harder than you might have had to. Um, but yeah, I started in January, and I mean we had some trips and whatnot. It was 2 weeks in January, but I think just knocking those 2 weeks, it just sets a standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I had a 50% SSP in that month,
Mm.
because we didn't even have a backpack spray, and I was selling bucks.
Snowing.
There was snow on the
Raining.
ground. I had not raining. It was like literally snowing. There's a couple days where it was icy, but didn't have a Segway because it's not a snowmobile. And people were just open the door like, I gotta close the door, man. It's too cold. And it was just, but I was able to go out there and squeeze a few out every single day, whether it was like 1, 2. I think my biggest day was a 5-day. So just being able to do that, and adding that, I think it was whatever, 30,000 service revenue in those couple weeks. Fast forward to now, sitting here thinking if I had to do another 30K, it's like, holy crap, right? So I do appreciate the fact that I was able to start early, even if it was only 30K, just because it sets me a little bit more ahead.
It's just like such a strong intention, like I'm going to hit this goal, and the desire is so strong that of course I'm going to give myself the absolute max amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And I hear guys talk about I want to hit a golden door, and I'm like, okay, well, let's map this out. When do you want to start? Well, I want to start like mid-March, April, right? And I'm like, okay. But I feel like the guys, and like you saw Simone and Hugo with Insight, they were knocking snow on the ground in March, right? Shout out to them. Hopefully we can get them on the pod too.
Yes, sir.
But I think the guys that really want to hit a golden door, like, are willing to go out there and just give the max amount of time possible to do it. Especially if, like you yourself, you put a little bit of pressure on you, publicly declare it. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I want to train in the preseason, get ready. And I think that, yes, that's smart. But I think if you're going for something just that big, like, I think a lot of people underestimate like how big it is to go for it, especially now that it's jumped to 750K.
And they do, sorry to cut you off, but, and I don't want to say any names, call anybody out, but I did have like a moment like that where I had a rep that said, I'm going for a golden door next year. And they didn't do nearly as much as I did my rookie season. So it was even more crazy for them to say it than for me to say I'm going for a golden door. And I said, well, you know what? I do want to put my faith in you and believe in you, but I can't take you seriously from the summer that you did. But I also don't want to just like put down your goal if you really genuinely believe that you can do it. So this month in postseason, I think it was September, I want you to do the same revenue you did the entire summer. And it was like, whatever, 60K. And after 15 days, they flew home and they did like 5,000 service revenue. So I, in terms of goal setting and hearing people all the time say, I'm going to go for this goal, I'm going to go for this goal, you hear it all the time. And it's the people that actually are able to take that first step. that's kind of what sets you apart and differentiates yourself from other people, because
Mhm.
it's easy to say you're going to do something, but when it's snowing or pouring rain, or maybe it's September and you're 150,000 away from your goal, that's really where you see if someone's actually built for this or not.
Yeah.
So it's not something to take lightly to just throw it out there, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the big takeaway is that, like, if you've never hit a golden door before, in my case, I did half of a golden door. I started in March. In Ty's case, he did 200K in a rookie year, and he was willing to start in January. Like, that's what it takes, right? Don't think that you're just going to have just an insane, just, transformation in an off season just based off training, that you're going to be able to go out there and just, 5, 6, 7x your numbers. It's just not realistic, right? But okay, cool. So you start in March or January. Shout out to Cade too. He was out there with you, twin brother.
Brock,
Brock,
Wes for
Yep.
some days, and even Van, my older brother, who's a pilot. He came by for a little bit, and he came out and knocked for like a month straight when he
Mhm.
literally is flying planes.
Incredible.
It's just, yeah, I love my brothers.
And we'll kind of get more into like knocking during the colder weather, but January, you knock a couple weeks. February, you knock a couple weeks. March, you start to kind of get more consistent, and that's when the numbers start to go up, correct?
I would say April. I think I did 100,000 in April, and it was 100,000 sold, 94,000 serviced.
Yeah, and I want to talk about April because that's when I came, right?
Yeah.
I came in April, and that, for me, that was an electric preseason.
Yeah, it
right?
was, man.
Like, there were all the boys. We met up at the apartment every day, 9 a.m., I think like 2 times a week. But, I'll just preface it with saying I attribute a lot of my success. Like, a lot of people see my golden door this year and say, man, you made it look way easier this year. And I think a lot of it was rubbing shoulders with you, and your brother too, and, all the guys. But when I showed up in April, there were like 10 bombs being dropped. 10 bombs in April. Taryn and Thomas were out here. I kind of showed up and it was like, okay, let's rock. Let's roll. Let's get these numbers up. Like, if these guys are selling 5, 8, 10, like, I got to go for 12, right?
I think your first, and not to give me and my brothers flowers, but I think your first week is when we had that Ty Dayton where it was
yeah.
I think I sold 12.
That's right.
Cade sold 6, and then Wes sold 5 or
Yeah,
something like that.
like
And even
that.
Brock threw down 5 sales.
It was electric.
It was crazy. I think it was like a 35-day between all the guys or something like that.
Yeah, it was great.
And I think, and I want to let you continue afterwards, but I think that's a bit of the culture that we want to change. Now, in terms of knocking season, a 10-month knocking season or 9-month is a little bit much, especially for like a rookie to just come out and do that. But in the same sense, I think we got to stop doing the 4-month knocking season. I mean, if someone's in university or whatever the case may be, and they want to come out and knock for a summer, that's completely fine. But I think we need to start utilizing preseason and postseason, just like, the numbers that we've been putting up this postseason and the numbers that we were putting up in the preseason. There's so much being left on the table, I think, for the entire industry.
I know. And I do want to save that for later because I want to get through your season and then talk about our postseason and then talk about kind of what we learned. But,
Yep.
But yeah, man, we're in Canada where it's cold, selling in January. I just
Zero
I'm almost
bugs.
confused. Like, why aren't the guys in the States knocking longer, right? Or more?
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. But anyways, going into the season, you start May at 200K, correct?
I think 185, 200.
Okay.
Something like that.
I thought it was around 200K because I was at 100K.
I think it was 185 because I did 420 in the summer.
Okay. So again, I just think like you starting early, I know for mine last year and even this year, like having that cushion is just crucial.
100%.
Crucial, right? So when you started the season with 200K, I feel like the precedent was set that you were going for this goal and there was no backing out at this point. Like you were, 1/5 into getting it done, right? Um, so talk to us now about how summer was. Like summer starts off, and just talk to us about how the summer went for you.
Summer was easy.
Mm.
It is awesome. That's where it's like, that's where I started to question myself how I even get paid to do this. It's like, we try not to make it a summer camp, but it always ends up being like a summer camp. Especially a lot of our recruits, since we're knocking in, my hometown, are people that I know, and like literally my brothers and some of my best friends. So it's crazy that we get to do correlations in the morning together. We're meeting up Sundays. We're all at my apartment in the swimming pool, and we're messing around and whatnot. But I think it was a big switch from last summer. Last summer we would meet up at noon, like sometimes 11 a.m., sometimes like 12 p.m. Get out the doors by like 1 or 2, and just after knocking in the preseason and like working more hours, just makes so much more sense. So that's something that we wanted to change right away. Where I was like, Kate, we got to start meeting up early. We didn't want to go too hard and be like 8 a.m. meetup, but we did, started at 11 a.m., did a lot of training, then 10 a.m., and then eventually 9 a.m. meetups, which just, if you like, from the numbers that we've done, it translates a lot to sales because you're just talking longer. You're going to talk to more people, make more sales. It just makes sense. So,
Yeah. And so would you consider it like the reason why it felt easy is just that you guys just formed an awesome culture?
yeah, and it's fun. And I think that's why I love this job so much. It you start to struggle when it's like, even meeting up with you in the morning, that's huge. If I was by myself, which for I think 3 weeks or maybe even a month, I was going out to area by myself and was like waking up, hitting the shower, eating breakfast, and then going to the doors by myself. And it was just like I was almost slugging my way into my car. So even meeting up with somebody helps a ton, but let alone an entire office with that energy. And obviously, once you kind of get to the point where, you're running a tight ship and people are knocking their hours, they're doing the training, they're not calling out at correlation. I think that's where you could start to, let loose a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be like Hitler at the start, but then you want to just be able to have fun. And I think having fun is the biggest thing. And talking to some of my reps that finished the summer, not doing nearly what they wanted to do, not making, a whole lot of money, which is the reality of this industry. Hearing them say that it was the best summer
Mm.
that they've had
Mm-hmm.
is like, okay, we're doing something right. And
Right.
the thing that I love is it's not like I'm on a different level. I had the same amount of fun that they're having. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I love it so much, because we're able to build a skill, make a lot of money, but also just enjoy a summer, whereas a lot of people would want to take it off. We're able
Right.
to grind through it and still have a ton of fun. So I
Right.
think I do give a lot of my credit to my office, just seeing them every morning, and especially being like one of the top performer in my office. I can't go out and sell like one, right? I've
Right.
said that before. You got to lead from the front. That's what I've learned from you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way that I could just like sit in my car for an hour, or I don't think I went to a gas station the entire summer, to
Mm.
be honest. Not even once, not even to use a washroom. I just piss in a bush.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what pushed me a ton. And I give a lot of credit to them. In the summer, we say it every time. We're like, hey, this summer's going to go by quick. And then boom, it's done.
Right.
And then I forget about it. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm at 600K.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I feel like a lot of times people think that they would do better without managing an office.
Yeah.
Right. So, what's your take on it? Do you feel like you do better on your own, or do you feel like, being in that leadership position, having that mentality of leading from the front, as long as you can get on the doors at the right time, is going to help you, not hurt you? What's your take on it?
I mean, I'd be kind of contradicting myself just blatantly saying it helps, because Cade did help me a ton run the office. So he did a lot of the interviews in preseason. He was knocking 4 days a week so he can do 8 hours straight of interviews. And we also had Juan that was setting up all the slides and whatnot, even though we ran more of the correlations. But looking back on it, even if I did all that stuff, I don't think that I would be at the same, finishing the Golden Door at this time.
Mm.
But I do think I still would have been able to do it just because of how much it does push you. And I think uh, making it something where it's a little bit more selfless is, and having a bigger reason than just for yourself is how you're going to be able to go through those hard days. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the only difference between like a vet and a rookie is vets are able to push through those hard days, zero sales a whole day. And then at 7 p.m., make a sale, build the momentum, 1, 2, 3, finish day with 4. Whereas a rookie would kind of make excuses, complain,
Right.
blame. So I think being able to have a reason to be able to push through that is just accountability.
Right. Yeah, I always say like it's not even about leading from the front. Obviously, that's a like really key strategy and a key mindset, but it's like obsessing over leading from the front. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're crazy. You're a maniac. So,
But I just think like if you can obsess about leading from the front, then it just puts like it just makes that kind of whole mentality stronger, right? Where it's like
yeah,
I cannot go out there and I cannot take a
100%.
break. I cannot sit on the park bench.
And a big thing is too, I didn't want to let down my brothers.
Mm.
Like that's the number one thing. And I maybe it was too hard on myself when I was like, if I don't hit this Golden Door, like I'm nothing to them. But it's also almost I felt it was disrespectful to Cade
Mm-hmm.
after he did all the interviews, ran a lot of the correlations, was doing a lot of the late night training with the reps, and sacrificed a lot of his own personal earnings, right? Because he was at a high pay scale. He serviced, over 300K.
Mm-hmm.
So every sale that he's making afterwards, he was getting paid good on it. And he
Mhm.
sacrificed quite a bit for me to hit this goal. And
Right.
I know what to do for him when he goes for his.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be disrespectful for me to just be slugging around and taking days off, right? He did all that so I can go for this goal. And I'm just going to take that for granted.
I think that like delegation is key when you're managing an office and trying to hit a big goal, right? You almost have to be a master delegator, right? When I was going for the Maple Door, right? Like shout out to Imad, right? But leaned on Imad a ton, right? And you need those people in your corner, right? Also, like another little pro tip is like you can kind of be halfway in, halfway out. You can manage the team, you can run the correlations, you can change the times of the correlations, right? And a big thing that helped me was like, okay, I'm going to drive myself out to area, right? Because if I take a car group, that's just going to make that little difference is going to make, the difference of when I hit the doors. If I can hit the doors early, even if I manage the correlation meeting, like I'm still able to produce at the level that I want, right? And I feel like as long as you keep that goal bigger than yourself, like, hey, I want to hit this goal because it's going to help everybody, it's going to raise the ceiling, then I think it's a win, right?
Yeah. And one thing that I want to add is, and this is for even if people are watching that are not in door-to-door sales, I think in life, do things that you love and also do things that you're good at. And I think, press on that hot button. When you're good at something, stick to it. So I also do understand that you want to make sure that you can learn. Like for me, I'm so bad with calendars and stuff like that and technology. I'm a bit of a boomer, to be honest. But I just know that I'm gonna have to eventually learn it, and that's my goal for this off season: learn how to use the freaking computer. But also, especially being younger, I was just like, I'm gonna do what I'm good at, and that was talking with people. And even though I didn't know anything about sales, when I was running my car detailing business, I would throw myself out there and just knock on people's doors. Even when I was taking care of a neighbor's car, I would just knock and say, "Hey, I'm doing them. I can get you done afterwards." And even though I didn't know the first thing about sales, I knew that I'm going to stick to what I'm good at. And I think being biz orientated is something that I'm good at, but also in terms of actual sales, it's the production. Like I can go out there, produce.
Mhm.
I'm good at, I'm better at speaking with people. I'm a decent salesman. So I'm able to hype people up. So that's what I stuck to. And Cade's really good at,
Mhm.
running things. He's good at the
Mhm.
operation. So I'm not going to step into his square and he's not going to step into mine. That's why we work so well together. And even Wes, obviously I think we can grow and build different skills. I'm not going to say I'm going to be in this position forever, but I think to not, fix something that's not broken. It's like we started out preseason. We did, 400,000 preseason with, mainly me and Cade, but other reps as well. And we just pushed that onto the summer, and we just didn't change anything, and it ended up working out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's business, like it's a puzzle piece, right? You want to find the people that fill your gaps, and then you're able to, progress a lot farther, right?
100%.
Okay, cool. So one little point is during the summer, your biggest week, you did 43 sales, I believe, just shy of 50K.
Yeah.
So I just want to break that down. Talk to us about your week, that week. Like what was working for you? What was kind of the main thing that helped you achieve that goal? Just talk to us.
I was just talking to an absurd amount of people.
Right.
And the name dropping, I'm sure you obviously understand this, was so much more crucial. Not even just, hey, I work for John in unit number 37. And they're just like instantly like, okay, yeah, I know him. Or whatever, unit number 15, unit number 105. But also name dropping like, oh yeah, the HOA president, Denny, yeah, he got him taken care of. He told me just get anyone that needs it. Or the manager driving around on a lawnmower. But I was just able to talk to so many people. I was selling monthlies. It just made sense for them. I was just pitching, hey, it's $100 a month. And my ACV was a lot higher. So it was just one of those things where I started my Monday, I think I sold like 8,000 or maybe 10,000. And then my Tuesday I sold, I think it was 8,000. And then my Tuesday I sold like 12,000. It was like one of my biggest days, something like that. And I remember I was on the phone at lunchtime with Rob Mason. Shout out to Rob. And I was like, he was looking at my app sheet, and he was like, he was like, so you're at like 19,000. What? It's Tuesday. And I was like, yeah, I know. And he's like, bro, go for your biggest week. And I think my biggest week before was like 35,000 or something. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it. And then fast forward to like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I did pretty decent every day, like 6,000, 7,000. And then I think it was the final day, Saturday, where I was like, I want to beat James.
Beat my record for context.
Yes, beat James's record. And I think I was like, I don't remember exactly, but I remember saying like, okay, I don't know if I can do this.
I think you had a 10K day on Saturday to beat it, right?
It was like, I had to do 10K. And it was the Saturday where I had about 10,000 to go. I think it was like 10,400 or something like that. And I was just like, all right, holy crap. Like, if I want to beat James's record, like, I got to throw down. And, I was getting so nervous. I was like, shoot, man, like, I don't know if I can do this. And I remember I just went, talked to the first person I saw. She was gardening, sold her. It was crazy. Her daughter was there too. Her husband just died that did the pest control. And she was like, yeah, I'll do it. It was like $250 initial, $120 a month. So it was like a $1,500 account. And she was just agreeing. And then I went to the neighbor right beside her, and I was like, I just signed her up. She's like, okay, can I get the same discount she got? And I was like, yeah, you can. So 120, and it was like, boom, already at 3,200 or whatever. And then I just kept going. And eventually it was like, they're all good accounts, like $1,100 contract values. Ding, 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 ding. And the final one that I got, I was like, if it was like 930, she told me she bought her trailer park for $1 from her friend back in the 60s. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. Signed her up, card and file. And I remember just going to my card and being like, holy crap, man. And I did it. You always understand this, the sales high. It's like, those are, and there's hard moments too, but those are the moments that make you realize why we do what we do. And looking back on it now, it's just like, it's awesome. It's just freaking awesome. Like, it's, it doesn't get better than that. Just saying that you're going to do something and being like so scared to, and you're the, right? When people bullshit and lie, but you always know. And like actually being scared or nervous or thinking that you can't do something and then doing it, it's a testimony to yourself.
100%, man. There's few better feelings than being a salesman in 100% commission-based sales that compares to like beating your best week. Just regardless, like whether it's a company record or just your own personal record, like when you beat your best week, man, Saturday night, you pull out that extra 1 or 2 sales or whatever, it's like there's no better feeling. You just take
The
that
best.
Sunday, you wake up, you're like, things are good, man. Everything is good in this world. I don't care what wars are going on. I don't care about
And
any
then
conflicts.
Monday you just get punched in the face and you're like, screw this, man.
But yeah, man, that's awesome. So one big like kind of takeaway just to talk about like what it takes to have a massive week is I try to treat, I took this from Arjun Manhas as well. Treat your Mondays like Saturdays. So every
100%.
time it's Monday, like you should be on demon time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people show up Monday, oh, I hope today's a good week. Like for myself, I always at least try to implement, okay, I'm going to throw down today.
Set the standard for the week.
100%, right? Because if you have a slow Monday, then you're playing catch up. You have a big Monday, then all those thoughts start to creep in your mind. Ooh, I just did 5K on Monday. All right, like this is good, right? I want to keep this momentum. And you start to maybe have those thoughts of, hey, I could have my best week, right? My biggest week in May, it was Memorial Day, threw down 11. And then all of a sudden those thoughts started coming to my head. Hey, I just sold 11 on Monday. Like, what if I just kind of keep this up, right? That would have never happened if I sold 5, right? So I think that's a huge takeaway. And then also, like, obviously turf matters to a degree, right? There's, great turf and, non-great turf, whatever you want to say. But I think the biggest thing that matters is just the inputs, especially at a certain skill level. Like right now, you obviously know, but I've really been like figuring out townhomes, like complexes.
It's awesome.
But the reason why it works isn't because there's more issues. It's not because, obviously the bandwagon is nice. But the biggest reason I think is just because I'm able to just knock way more doors, talk to more people, and kind of like take the job and kind of sandwich it into just inputs, right? And I don't have to worry about, oh, let me not knock this door, let me knock this door, let me go to this street, let me go back to that street. I feel like a lot of the times we're our own worst enemy with strategizing area and knocking the doors. But sometimes I feel like if we were all just took all the emotion out of it, and some guys do this, they succeed at a high level. And I remember I was taught this as a rookie. If I could stick to this, I'd probably do better. Just knock every door. Just knock every door, right? Obviously prospect effectively. But if you can do that and you get more inputs, like the outputs are going to come, especially at a certain skill level where you can sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and I had the mentality of like selling every day. You already know that. Like, there's just no such thing as a bagel day. I mean, postseason, preseason, whatever. But in the summer, you have to sell every single day. And I just have the confidence that I don't care what area that it's in, I will sell. Now, area does matter, right? So, I mean, it matters more for if you're going for a goal like this, because a 3-day and a 4-day is not good for us, right? And yes, if we go to an area that's very low income, there's not a lot of people home, there's a lot of doors knocked. Yeah, we could squeeze out 3 or 4 sales, but we want to go to that area where you're talking to more people. So, I mean, I'll never complain about an area where I'm getting like really bad responses necessarily. I mean, every once in a while it'll happen, like, you know, for whatever reason it is. But for the most part, the only time that I'll really switch an area is just if I'm not talking to enough people, because we don't get paid to knock on doors. We get paid to talk to people. You obviously know that. So I don't really think the area matters too much. I was literally knocking trailer parks, and you're literally knocking townhomes that are attached to. That's crazy. I mean, I got to break that into, but area can be pretty mental sometimes. And in the same sense, you know this, and you probably don't agree. And to be honest, maybe it's hurting me, but I'm just not a numbers guy. I don't plan out my numbers. I don't calculate how much I need to sell this week, this day, or whatever, what averages I need. I just go out and knock, and I work my ass off. And if it works out, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's always been, I guess, my mentality. I think It's good if you know a basic metric of what you need to do to hit your goal, so you're not just completely off.
Right.
But in the same sense, I get stressed out, right? I'll go have a 2-day and then the next day I'll sell 8 just because I'm working. But if I was to have that 2-day and go, okay, to hit my numbers, I need to sell 8 tomorrow. In my opinion, it's just unnecessary stress. But even in terms of the day by day, I don't track how many people I talk to. I don't track how many doors I've knocked. I don't track anything. I don't even have the counter app. I just work. So that works for me.
Yeah. And fair enough. And I think what's cool about sales is it's an art, right? There's so many ways to do it. I mean, in terms of like tracking the numbers, I think it's also like almost an art. If you over track, then yes, you'll get stressed out. Mid-season mathematician, right? Tracking numbers, getting stressed out, coming up short, beating yourself up. But I also think, like, for me, how I handled it was I just check in every couple of weeks, just check in, right? And I think, like, checking in with that goal just makes you think about that goal and kind of reinforces, that obsession almost with it. You know what I mean? And honestly, like, I would have dopamine hits. Like, I loved breaking down my goal. Luckily, I was on track for most of it. But I just loved the idea of saying, okay, if I just keep up this pace, I could hit it by this. But if I did this pace, I could hit it by then. You know what I mean? Like, I always say, be willing to like stretch, like give yourself as many knocking days as possible. Then when you break it down, it seems really easy, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to hit it by that date, but you just know your range, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think we were talking about this the other day, other week. I remember I was like 20K away and I was like kind of getting stressed because my twin brother booked a trip to Thailand for 3 weeks. We came back, we were coming back on like the 23rd. So I'd have like a week to knock in the snow on Christmas, basically, if I didn't hit it by, before he left. And I remember doing the math and being like, all right, the flights are booked. It was send me $2,000. It's done. And I was like, oh, shoot. And I did the math and it was like, I got to sell 2,400 a day or service 2,400 a day. And I remember seeing that being like stressed out. I was like, especially because I had a bagel day and I sold one. And then I was like, holy crap, man. Like that sounds great. But then I remember talking to you and being like, dude, just do 5K 4 days in a row. You'd be done like this week. And I was like, all right. So to be honest, I mean, I can't just say I don't look at the numbers. It's not like it's
Right.
a fugazi. I did say, I want to do 100,000 a month, but I also think that it's just such a weird thing. And there's podcasts of me before talking about how I put my goal at 118 and I checked my number at the end of the month after not checking at all. And I was at 118 sales. And it's weird like that because my goal, especially in the summer, was to do 100K a month. And then I would start the week with like a 22,000 week. And then my next week would be like 24,000. And I'd be like, on par. And then I would, no matter what, always finish with like 100K, 110K. So it was like, it is crazy how it just works out.
There's like the power of the subconscious mind in sales is so slept on.
I know, man. It's crazy.
It's why I do my affirmations every morning.
And I don't do any affirmations. I don't think other than taking notes, I don't think I touched a journal on my free time the entire summer. I'm just not really a journal guy.
Sure, that's fine.
Which is, maybe I should start doing it. I don't mind it. It's not like
I think it's got to be natural to you, right? It's natural to me. I've been doing affirmations and journaling ever since I was a kid, right?
And I mean, I haven't. So I think it's something that maybe I could touch in on, but also in the same sense, it's just so freaking drilled in my mind when I was going for this. It was like, I just remember the day that I was like just sitting at home and I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it. Especially after we found out that it was 750K. I was like, I already said I was going to do it. I said I was going for a golden door, whether it was 650, 750 or 850, whatever it is, I'm going to get it done. And I think just having that like mentality, even for sports, for school, I was a C- student to a 90% average student. It's like when I say I'm going to do something, I hyper fixate over it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the same concept, right? Like you can do affirmations to kind of almost hack that,
Right.
but it's the same thing as just thinking about it over and over again. Think, just to stay on the topic of the subconscious mind, because I think it really is so important. And I think it's more important than we think. I really think that, man always has a bystander listening, and that's the subconscious mind. And it's almost divine. And the top sellers are putting positive thoughts into that mind, or they're speaking about a goal that they really want. And over time, that subconscious mind starts to just really believe it, right?
So I think a big thing that started my journey is when I was first going for the goal, I prayed about it. And I think like Jesus is like a huge reason that I was able to do it. I think it's the only reason that I'm here. But I always, going back to when I said that it would be almost disrespectful to Cade if I didn't hit it because of the sacrifices that he's had to make in terms of running the office for me to achieve this goal. I think to go even deeper into it, to have an even bigger why, I think it would be disrespectful to God. Because I think he did give me a bit of a gift to sell, be a decent salesman. But also he put the goal in my mind. And I think him putting the goal in my mind and believing in it, it would be disrespectful for me to be lazy, to not go out and put my absolute all into it. So I think that just not like puts it at a different level of you got to do it than just I want to make a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You take your faith seriously. You've definitely, I think, inspired me quite a bit.
That's the best thing to hear. Being 100%. A fisherman, man.
100%. And yeah, it's really interesting to hear your kind of journey in faith. But how much did you lean on God during this Golden Door journey? How did your connection with Him?
Every day. And I think and it's to the level where I would have the worst day ever, right? Like almost in tears, just like not because of money or just not even just the idea of letting somebody down, but just because of how big my goal was and how scary it was, and I needed to have that momentum. But I would thank God for those days and all the hard days that I had, all the good days. I would never pray to sell. I would never pray to run into a bunch of greens. That's completely aside from the idea. The thing that I would do is just the mentality aspect of it. Like I would pray for mental clarity. I would pray for like the strength and energy, put your arm around when you leave your bed. But I think just talking with God every single day, was the best thing for me. And I think it strengthened my faith with Him. Do hard things. I mean, it's as simple as that. Do hard things. And through that, it's not going to be easy, but there's always going to be an outcome out of it. And that was, building my faith with Him. So I would talk with God every single day. And I didn't have enough time to read all the time, but I would try to open up the Bible from time to time.
Yeah.
Even go to church during the knocking season on our Sunday off. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. But I think the most important thing that I got out of this summer was not necessarily the impact that I had on my reps financially, but spiritually was huge. And I'm not saying like I'm the reason, right? But just recently, like coming home to my apartment and seeing them, having a Bible study.
Yeah.
6 of the boys and even some of my friends that were the furthest from God. But even being
starting to come around,
even being, exactly. Being the furthest from God, he's always with you, right?
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not.
Right.
So seeing them coming around, exactly what you said, is just, and or even hearing what you said, that's way more rewarding for me than, it's anything else that can come from this job. And even just to add one more point to my rugby coach, Andrew Evans, shout out to Andrew Evans if he's watching this, at Trinity Western. Man, dropping out was just the craziest thing ever, because I just felt like I was letting everyone down. I was, always that in the back of your mind, you're making a mistake. But I remember talking with him, and he was originally going to give us a lecture. You guys got to start being on time, and you guys are not taking it as seriously. And then I just cut him off, and I was like, hey man, to be honest with you, we came to this meeting to actually let you know something. And then we opened up that we're dropping out. And I thought he was going to like freak out or be like, you guys are making a mistake or whatever. And he just said, and that's kind of when I started to have faith. And he said, you know what? I don't care about the championships. I don't care about necessarily you getting your degree or whatever. It'd be great. I think it's an amazing, aspect to have. But he said that the biggest thing that I want you guys to get out of it is your faith. And I was like, well, we got it. He's like, well, that's the main thing that I care about. That's all I care about. So I was like, that's something that like I take into what I'm doing now, being a fisher of men. And I know what Jesus did for me. And I just, as a friend, if I love somebody, like I want to make sure that they can have the same relationship with God that I do. And I would be doing them a favor to even just let them know about it, even buying them a Bible or kind of normalizing the idea of talking about it. So yeah,
that's powerful. I find like just bringing it back to sales, the weeks where I'm struggling or the days that I'm struggling, the days I feel maybe a little bit more empty, the days I come home, I don't feel full, whether I'm selling at a high level or not, those are always the times. Basically, whenever I'm really struggling in sales consistently, it's normally because I feel like I'm distant from God, right? I'm not actively bringing him into my life. And I feel like this season was easiest because I was more actively taking the time to invite him in. And I kind of think it goes back to like that subconscious, right? Like I'm a big believer you have to fill up your cup, right? Like spiritually. Like, so anytime I was going through those days where I felt stressed, I felt tired, I felt like I wasn't being a good fiance, I would just the next morning take that time to eliminate all the distraction, right? Because I feel like a lot of stuff is the devil trying to take away from you, right? Like scrolling Instagram in the mornings when you first wake up and watching all this garbage and, like maybe talking bad about customers and, maybe only focusing on numbers and sales and money. Like all that stuff is the devil, right? And I feel like that's where a lot of unhappiness kind of comes from in sales.
Can't serve money and God.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but taking the time to actively just even, just pray, read a couple pages of that Bible and just kind of get your mental prepared to go in there and face all the noise, face all the music, face all the rejection. Like that's where it starts to compound, and that's where it feels like God's on your side and you just have incredible momentum, right?
And just to add to that, it's like even with sales, but aside from sales, it's like this world is so complex, and I'm not going to put my faith into a human that has the same understanding of things as me. So that's why I just lean on him, and I love Jesus, and I think that he was not a part of my life at all whatsoever up until the last couple of years. And it was from nothing to everything. And it's the first thing that I think about when I wake up. I thank him. I thank him for another day. And so it's the first thing I think of when I go to bed. And all throughout the day, it's my backbone. And I love talking about it. And, I love talking about it with people. And I think the craziest things happen on the doors too. And there was like just a quick story where I was talking with this lady about, Jesus, and, I ended up signing her up eventually, but we talked about Jesus for like 2 hours. It was crazy. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I think that, sometimes even in sales or even in this pest control job, like I get led to people, and I've had it probably a dozen times, more than 10 times this summer, where people have gone, I genuinely believe that God sent you to me.
Mm.
And I think, you know, you got to be careful with that sometimes. But when I was finished that conversation with that lady, you know, I prayed with her and it was insane, man. I walked down the street to go to my car to go home. It was dark. And I take a look to the left, and then it was a trailer park. And this guy was laying on his stairs. And I go up and I was like, what's going on? The wife goes, oh, he has Parkinson's and he had a heart attack last week and I need to take him to the hospital. I just can't get him to the car. And it was pitch black outside. And I go and I'm like, well, let me help you out. And then I pick him up. I bring him to the car, get the wheelchair, throw it in the trunk. And she's just thanking me. And she wasn't a Christian, but he was. And he was kind of out of it. And he just looks at me and he goes, I know Jesus sent you.
Mm.
And I go, hey man, like, I'm a Christian, like, Jesus is my everything. Let me pray with you. And the wife, she almost starts tearing up.
Wow.
And I'm like, you okay? She's like, I think I'm going to go back to church. And I was like, holy crap. And it was like right after I had a conversation with that lady. And I was just, you know, I was definitely like, you know, it makes you feel like you have a purpose sometimes. And I think that no matter who you are, God is always with you, whether you want to believe it or not. So this turned into a Christian podcast.
No, that's amazing.
But
dude.
it was awesome.
I mean, it's a, I think just being in touch with your spirit is like a massive part of success in sales, right? So it's a big part of this podcast. I think that's totally
For sure.
Totally fair. But to get back to your journey, so you finish the summer. At this point, it's easy. You know, you're buying into competitions, you're getting stuff done. You're not checking the numbers too much. You're having fun, but you're also selling at a high level. You finish the summer, August 31st. What revenue are you at? 600K. Amazing.
Oh, sorry. I think so.
Yeah. What did
Well,
you
we
go
went
to?
to-
What did you go to end of September to the door-to-door con? Where were you at?
Was that the end of September?
Yeah.
I was at 600K in Calgary.
You were at 600K in Calgary. So what?
So probably like, I don't know. I know my September wasn't the best. I think I did like 70K, 65, 70K.
Okay.
So maybe like 530
Okay.
at the end of the summer.
Okay. So 5:30 end of summer. And then did you notice a shift? Obviously you had a lot of your guys still knocking, like the postseason.
Yeah.
We all came together. Things changed a little bit. Did you notice a shift or was it still pretty much like, all right, we're still rolling here for September? Because I know
Yeah,
things changed
September was fine.
October, but
September was fine. I mean,
Okay.
a little bit. You could kind of tell when people would just like leave early and
guys around you selling less.
not showing up to correlation.
Seeing guys kind of slowly drop off. Yeah, the correlations.
that was
were-
brutal.
guys were showing up late. Yeah,
Not
shout out to
showing
you.
up.
You showed up probably. I think you were late, but you were less late than everyone else.
Whoa. I think I was late for a few days, but I think there was like a couple weeks where I was on time. But I mean, that's why I do appreciate you as well. Like having you, there's like an aura, whether you want to believe it or not, of you being there and running the doing trainings
Mm.
in postseason is something that I don't know if any other sales teams are doing it. Usually the like we were doing, you know, not a lot of training, but we were just sharpening up, doing some, you know, fun musical chair games or whatever, but then also getting some value out of it too before we hit the doors.
Yep.
And it's that constant improvement of just making sure we got the notepads out.
Mhm.
Even Varanya, shout out to Varanya.
Shout out Varanya.
Gotta get a notepad. But
we
I
almost threw hands there.
Oh my gosh, I love the guy. But yeah, I think it was basic stuff. I mean, it didn't feel like too big of a switch.
Yeah.
I do want to make sure that we start. I think it would be important for us to start doing the like the Brock Wahlberger, throwing out the podcast of like the updates of numbers, and
Yeah.
things like that. I think we have
100%.
just the recognition, especially not even just for us, but for the reps. But I mean, we can get into where it all changed.
Yeah. So I'll just preface this too. Like I always notice like a mental shift that happens near the end of September. So near the end of September, when the postseason for majority of people is wrapping up, especially that last week, that's where it starts to get a little bit almost dark. Like it, because, you know, you have this mentality of my guys are out here, lead from the front. But then when majority start to drop, and you start to see the leaderboard start to dwindle, and you start to kind of realize like, oh, it's just me, right? And that's when I think like your true character comes out, right? So end of September rolls around, we go to you actually had a really good, like we had a really strong end going into the door-to-door con Canada, right?
Yeah, I needed it too. I think, what was it? Yeah, we talked about this. I did 38,000 in 6 days.
Yeah. Had a massive,
So yeah,
massive week.
38,000. There was like a 9-day, 7-day, 6-day. And obviously this job always humbles you. And the issue that I was having was I was literally going out on the doors at 1 p.m. The day that I sold 9 was between, I think it was 5 hours of knocking, really. I got like 1 2 for 1. Then I went, got a referral. Then I threw down like 8 or 6 sales or whatever it was. And I was like, dude, I just knocked for like 4.5 hours or 5 hours and I threw down 9. This is going to be a breeze.
Right.
And that's when next day I sold like 7, then 5-day, then another 8-day. And I was like, this is going to be an easy postseason. And then when I came back from Calgary, I remember just sitting there being at 600K and going, I got to do 150,000. And I was just like, holy crap. I went out, super slow week. I think it was like maybe 20 sales, if even that. No,
Yeah.
probably 15 sales. And I was like, all right. And that's why I love this job. It humbles you so much.
Right.
It's all transparent. There's no faking it. You got to do it.
And you also came back from that door-to-door con like hungry, fired up. Like you wanted it. It's not like it was a lack of motivation, but it was like the struggle was real. You wanted to sell, but the results weren't coming. And was that the hardest part for you of the whole journey? Was that week? I talked about it with you at the coffee shop. Like, was there any ever whispers of doubt? So I think of my Golden Door journey last year, and there was the whispers of doubt came around that time.
Well, back to what you're saying, that's the devil.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, of course, it's always going to be there. It was there when I started. It was there in the middle of my journey. It was there at the end. It was there when I was at 745,400 service revenue.
I guess it shows up anytime you have a tough day.
And even the good days, you go throw down and you just go, okay, I sold 8 today. Like, I'm going to have to do this like 8 more times, like 10 more times. Right. It's like even that, it's still there. But I think I never really let it get to me too much. I think the times that it did get to me is when I hit 650K, or sorry, 600K when I was there and I was kind of in the hole. I was like, all right. And it was also pouring rain. And I've never knocked a postseason before this much. Well, never postseason in general, actually. So I thought it was going to be pouring rain for the rest of the time. We had some sunny days, some sunny weeks. So it was actually good. But I was just like pouring rain, soaking wet, freezing. And I was like, dude, I got to do 140K left. This is like, this is going to be hard. That's mainly what I thought. I thought it was going to be hard, not that I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part that I don't know if you're going to get into later, but it's when I hit the Golden Door metric of 750 serviced accounts.
Right at the end.
With 550K active and serviced.
Yeah.
Because we hit the Golden Goat Award. So I already was at 550K active and serviced. But then I hit the 750 accounts, which I was at 690,000 service revenue, maybe 695. And it felt like I was like, you got that feeling of, okay, well, at least I'm going up on stage. But then it's like, you got to do what you say. I said that I was going for a set. And I remember talking to my dad about it. Excuse me. And I was like, yeah, hey, like, I technically hit the Golden Door. And he was just like, so why are you still knocking? You already did it. And I was like, well, no, I want to do 750K serviced. And he's like, but you already hit the Golden Door. That was your whole goal. Yeah. And I said, no, my goal wasn't the Golden Door. My goal was 750K. So I'm going to do 750K. And that's when I kept going. But it was that last 60K, 55K, that was a struggle for sure.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the lead up to that. Cause I'd say, it was tough. I mean, the last part I feel like is always the toughest, right? Especially when everyone starts to drift off and it's just Me and you out there.
And you're still going, and I'm not going to be with you pretty soon.
Still going. Got a couple more weeks. It will be tough. Will be tough. Sad to see you go.
You got it. I'm
I'm gonna be at the coffee shop alone.
I'll meet up with you a couple times.
But I think it's for me. It's like legendary. What happened? So, I get a call from Rob. So I can't say I came up with like the idea myself of doing it, but I think Cade and Rob linked up, and they're like, hey, like you guys should start meeting up every morning. Because at the time, I don't even know what we were doing. I think we were just going out solo.
Yeah, we were both on the boards. We didn't talk.
Yeah,
we were dropping bombs on the boards.
Talk to each other, and it was like we meet up. I think we met up like twice a week or Saturdays, maybe.
I think the first Saturdays we'd meet up.
Yeah,
and then
we did like what 1 week of doing that or 2. Or
we did that for 3 weeks.
Did we really
meet up on Saturday?
So we for the first
at the
3 weeks
Starbucks
of
down
October?
by the Cineplex.
Right.
So yeah, we just and to look back on it, it's like now that we've like been meeting up and now we know how important it is. It's like, what were we thinking?
I think my thought process was like, you don't want to meet up, and you may have thought the same as me. Like, you know what I mean? Ty just wants to go out to area right away because I think at that point, right, like that's kind of.
Well, I definitely didn't feel like that.
Yeah, but I think it was a little bit earlier in October because when we meeting up at the coffee shop like pretty often for like a couple, like at least a month and a half or something.
It's
because I hit my golden door like
it was like I think 6 weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks.
Yeah. So somewhere in October, I think earlier October, we started to meet up at the Starbucks. Me, you, sometimes Varanya.
Yeah.
And
one time Brock. Shout out to Brock.
But I think there's like a deep lesson in it, like that you can't do it alone. I mean, you can, but it's just going to be a lot more difficult. But us just meeting up every morning, it started at 8 a.m. and we pushed it to 7:30 a.m. So we're getting up nice and early. But
we started meeting up at what time?
7:30.
No, but we originally started at like 8 a.m., right?
Yeah.
And then I remember, you're like...
The time change happened.
You text me, you're like, hey, Ty. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
What do you think about meeting up a little early? And I was like, you're not asking me. You're fucking down. All right, let's do it, James. But I think just to cut you off for a sec, like that's why I give a lot of credit to you. Because like I was saying, I was waking up at like 10 a.m. when nowadays when we were knocking, we were getting our first sale at 10 a.m. But I'd be waking up at like 10 a.m., 10:30, eating my food, whatever. And then I would chat with the boys. And that was horrible. Because I do want to add one thing in that happened with what got me to my goal. But
right.
I was getting the doors at like 1, 2 p.m.
Right.
And, I did happen to throw down those days. Then I realized afterwards, like, okay, this has to change. And I had to completely change my schedule. I was going to bed at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I just couldn't sleep because I was in an apartment with my brothers and they were just being super loud. And to be honest, I gave into it a few times watching, movie night and, shooting the shit with them. But no, it's the biggest change is when I was like, okay, I got to make myself a bedtime. Right? I was like looking at myself and I was like, I got to treat myself like a child if I'm going to act like one. So bedtime at 10 p.m. and then waking up at 6 a.m. or 6:30, whatever it was to get to the coffee shop with you. Yeah. That was the biggest change. Just makes sense. You're going to be knocking more hours. So in doing that, wouldn't have been possible without like my parents. Show it to them.
Yep.
I've been living on my own for like the last year, and I messaged them. I said, hey, and my older brother's a pilot, so he's gone. Me and my twin brother are at an apartment, and my little brother graduated high school a year early, so he's 17. And they also kicked him out. They kicked us all out. They're like, you're gone. Yeah, we didn't leave actually, but anyways, so he moved in with us. So they're all alone, and they didn't want to say anything, but it was like months and a year since we've lived with them. So I asked them. I said, hey, I just want to be able to get some good sleep. I just can't, function with them keeping me up every night, and I don't have that self-control yet. So is it okay if I stay with you for a few weeks? And they're like, yes. And it was amazing, man. I would wake up, had some eggs cooked already before they went to work. And I was like, that's crazy. So it saved me so much time from like cooking breakfast. And also it's good to see them because especially for the whole year that I was working, I never saw them.
Of course.
Especially when they went out to Soyuz, Okanagan. So it was good to see them and stuff like that. Watch like rom-coms at night. The summer I turned pretty. Such a ridiculous show, man. It's just so ridiculous. But anyways, keep a long story short, that was the biggest change for me because I was by myself, not so much isolated, but I was locked in. I mean, I came home, maybe watch a little show, and then I was in my bed by 9:30, 10, sleeping, and then waking up, not making a ruckus, not waking up the boys. They're not keeping me up and whatnot. I would go visit them on a weekend, and meeting up with you every single morning just kept it consistent.
Yeah. I think the lesson in that is just your environment matters a ton, right?
100%.
So when you switch your environment to living with your parents, not living with the boys, you know, it'd be one thing if the boys were also grinding, following the same schedule.
Yeah, of course. But they're not.
Right?
They're recruiting and doing other things, but not the same schedule.
But it just makes sense. Like you're a human. We're all human. You're going to, you know, conform to your environment, right?
Yeah.
And I think
I was paying their rent too. I was still paying their rent.
and then yeah, just us meeting up. I mean, that just so everyone knows, that helped me out a ton too, right? Because I'm going through the same head games, the same battles, right? But I think us meeting up, you know, there were times where like I'd be like rushing out of the house to meet you at 7:30, where I just know in my mind, if we weren't meeting each other, would we be rushing? No, we'd probably be like, oh, I got another hour sleep here.
Yeah.
Oh, instead of hitting the doors at 9, I'll hit it by 10:30. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what it was kind of before that, right? So I think just, you know, we were kind of each other's accountability partners. And
just to add to that, I think the biggest thing is we just have a bit of a different understanding of each other just because we're going through the same thing. We're going for the same goal. And I think the biggest thing for me is when James Fraser hit the golden door and then goes, I always talk about how he runs across the finish line and everyone's watching him and then he just keeps going. And it's hilarious because he goes, yeah, I hit the golden door, but I'm going for 1,000 accounts. And it's just, how can I slack off? How can I not work hard when James literally hits it? Like thinking about now going out and going, I'm going to knock for the next 3 weeks is just, I mean, yes, I could do it, but do I have to? No, so I'm not, right? And to think that you just did, like without anyone telling you to, with actually the opposite, people telling you not to, right? That just fired me up so much. And to be honest, when you told me that, you don't like know how happy I was that you were, because I don't know if I'd be here right now if I was left alone every day.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. And yeah, bro, it was awesome, man. Just meeting up with you, 7:30 a.m. and we would just chat for an hour and a half plus.
Stupid stuff.
Everything.
Nothing to do with door-to-door sales for the most part.
Well, sometimes crunch our numbers. Like it was fun, man. And then I think it just, it like you said, we kind of like understood each other, just going for that massive goal. And it kind of allowed me just to like kind of sometimes I feel like I have like as a regional manager, I feel like I got this like kind of mask on where always have to say the right thing, can't talk about how I feel all the time. And there's just a lot of things like that really helped me out, like just being able to take off that mask with you, talk about how I'm feeling. And there were mornings, man, where I felt like really like bad. Like I felt like terrible, felt tired, had a bad sleep, felt stressed. But after chatting with you, like felt better, right? Was able to go out there and sell. And
I appreciate that, man.
And I just know, man, like if we weren't meeting up like that, like it would have been a lot bigger of a grind. I kind of experienced that last year going for the goal. Like it was tough and it was like a huge act of discipline. And just like you said, like I feel like it was just, you know, although it was two people, we had like a good culture, right? Of meeting up, leaning on each other. So appreciate you too, brother.
No better than a previous Golden Door winner and a current Golden Door winner when we were meeting up towards the end. There's no better person to meet up with.
True. Yeah. 100%.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing that I took out of that is knowing what to do for the future for my reps. I just know that with some basic training and good work ethic and obviously an understanding of mentality, I can do what you did for me and help someone else hit a golden door, no problem.
Yeah.
And little things make the difference. And meeting up in the morning was one of them.
Yeah.
Right? Having a sleeping schedule, was one of them, making sure your diet's on par. So I think going forward, now if we wouldn't have done that, I don't know if I would have done that for my reps, but now that I did,
Right.
now that we were meeting up or whatever, doing those little things, now I know what I'm going to do for my guys when they're going through the same thing.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be harder for them than it was for us, to be honest.
100%, man. Yeah. I love that, man. It's the beautiful thing about door-to-door sales is, the ripple effect, learning from the guys that came before you and yeah, passing it down, right? But cool. Just going back to kind of sales. Okay, well, first, so we're meeting up every morning. You see me hit my golden door. We're still grinding. We're still crunching the numbers. Talk to me about, I guess, the last part that you're kind of mentioning that was kind of the toughest, and talk to me about, the lead up to the day that you hit it.
I wanted to kill myself immediately. And I think I'm a very transparent guy. I'm sure you know, like I say what I think. I don't care if it's contradicting or taboo with your political views or your life views or whatever. I don't care. So I just say stuff. So, I mean, to what you're saying, the question was leading up to the golden door.
Yeah, like just talk to us about
it was
not
the hardest part. It was dark.
Yeah.
It was yeah, I mean, I just man, I just didn't want to knock, man.
It's kind of like during the summer, it feels like it's a system, and it's just like you're in the system. I feel like during the end, it's day by day. You're just getting by day by day.
I'm gonna sound like an asshole, but it was like hitting 600K was like easy, and maybe it's because I forget how hard it was, but it just seems so easy.
The summer's easy. The system's there. The competitions are there.
But it was, and I know this is going to be crazy for people to hear, but I think the golden door starts when you pass. I'm going to say, be conservative and say when you pass 500K.
Yeah.
For me, it was 600K. That's when the golden door actually started. Because up until then, I was like, this is going to be a breeze. This is easy going out. So I think generally that's what I believe. It doesn't really start until you hit that 500 or 600K. Because that's when it gets hard. So there was days that I did not want to go out, and that's, I don't want to give you too many flowers, but that's why I love meeting up with you. Like there would be days where I'm like, hey, it's pouring rain.
Right.
I'm just looking outside and I'm just like, holy crap, I do not want to go out and knock. We're meeting up in the morning. I think I was switching area every single day because I would go to a neighborhood, or every other day I would knock it. And there was these little small neighborhoods, I guess these small pockets that was left because we had an entire sales force here the entire summer. So there would be areas where I'm like, I'm going to knock this. No, that was knocked last month. And I'm like, okay, I could throw myself in there, squeeze a few up. I want some fresh turf. So that's another thing, going in the morning, waking up with no area to go to, and just
the area-itis is real during that time for sure.
Yeah, it could be real for, well, it gets stressful, right? You go to an area, you sell 3 and you're supposed to be selling like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I'm happy it's over, but in the same sense, it wasn't like a crazy feeling when it was over. Now I'm just thinking about next year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of just, it feels like when you're at that last stretch, 30K away, so far, so close. It's like every day it's like pushing a boulder up a hill. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, like I remember talking to you about it. It's like in my head, I was like, okay, when I hit 700K, or originally I was like, when I hit 650K, that's going to be like when I start the countdown.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, and then I was like, never mind. And then when I hit 700K, I was like, okay, 50K, and that's where I'm going to start doing the countdown. I'm going to get my calculator. Dude, I didn't start doing the countdown until I was at 740K.
Yeah.
And even then, I was like, dude, I have to sell 10K. Like, holy crap. Even though I've literally, to sell 10 accounts, I've done that, like, whatever the math is, like, hundreds of times. I was still like, dude, I'm so far. And even the 5K, I remember going to area, baggled for like 3 hours or 2 hours, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go out tomorrow.
Yeah, the light feeling of anxiety for me just stayed right up until the very last sale. There was never a time, I would say the only times I felt relieved
on a few big days.
If I sold 10K driving home, full of relief.
Easy.
The next day you knock that first door, it's back to zero.
That's exact, and that's
back to the mountain, right?
It's something so hard for like some people probably to understand.
Yeah.
But and I remember Rob Mason. I'm taking my original
shout out Rob, by the way.
Fine, but
okay.
I remember he was messaging me. He's like, just trying to hype me up. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Ty, you're at 600K. You got 150K to go. Get it done. Just like,
Right.
wrap it up." And I'm just like, that was when I was low, and I was like, bro, that's like some people's summer, man. Like, don't say wrap it up, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so far. But I think, yeah, I mean, I remember you telling me that you hit the golden door on the 27th. So I was like, dude, I have to hit the golden door on the 27th. So baggled for the first couple hours. And then I just remember it was like ding, 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 ding. And
that was crazy,
7
bro.
sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to say I didn't believe in you. I knew you're capable of it.
Right.
But just based on like the last couple of weeks, I thought, okay, one more day. And then he'll like finish up his last 2 or 3 sales like the next day. But then it's like ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
I literally had to like hop in my car, like race home.
And then he came. I remember I booked out all my same days, and I was 375 away. And I remember I was like, it was like 2:30, and I drove to the apartment, and they're getting everything set up, and they just look and they're like, "The hell are you doing here, bro?" And I'm like, "Well, I ran out of same days. Nothing gets serviced. I'm just gonna go out tomorrow and sell an account." And they're like,
"What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?" And I was like, "All right, let's go get the camera." And we actually recorded the last sale, which was, I wanted to make it fun, was making some jokes, like commentated some of the stuff, was laying on the ground. Excited for that video to come out.
That'll be legendary.
We got to get that edited. But when I hit that final sale, I was like, okay, I'm happy. I'm not going out tomorrow and waking up in the morning. I'm happy that it's done now. And I was so stressed. I sold some clean accounts, but I was just like, man, I hope they get service. I just got a call. It got serviced.
Yeah.
It's like, you grabbed the credit card and you sold it like an hour ago.
Yeah.
You still have that.
Right. Yeah, man, it's funny. Like the hardest part about the golden door is a lot of the times like the feedback you're getting from the people around you. You know what I mean? Like I actually, during the summertime, I actually thought that this was a more difficult golden door than the year before, because the year before I had all the hype. You got this, James. You can do this. Like this
First
is yours.
Golden door in Canada.
First one. You got it. Like so much support. The skill set wasn't quite there. So that made it hard. Like, selling 5 a day, like just every day. But this year it was like, oh yeah, you're going for another golden door. Like, cool. Like, nice. You got that. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of like expected. And I feel like I don't know, like I think you also kind of went through that. Maybe you had a little bit more because you hadn't hit one yet, but you're talking about it right now. Like Rob and other guys, and it's just because they don't understand, like had like nothing bad to say about it.
And they're not doing it to stress you out, but it subconsciously does. It's like
it's just expected of you. You're gonna hit it, but
exactly
they're not understanding what you're going through, right? And like how hard it actually is day by day.
Being at 700K and being like, can I actually do this? Is something that they won't understand until they've done it.
Yeah. And I think the leadership lesson in that, and I talk about this with stags all the time, and hopefully you guys can take something from this, because there's a lot of leaders out there that haven't sold at that level, which is completely fine. But it's just understanding that it really like matters how you talk about the golden door and talk about a sales rep's higher goal. Because if you blow it off, if you make it sound like it's not a big deal, or if you make it sound like it's expected for them to hit it, it's just a matter of time and they just got to wrap it up, it really like it just sucks when you're in that position. You feel like no one can understand it, right? And I think the leadership kind of takeaway is like you just got to always like just be on the sidelines, like cheering for your guy and just helping him, right? Helping him through Like, understand that he might look like it's all gravy and good, but like just taking the time to understand that, like, you know, he's probably going through it, and you got to be there to, you know, help support him and just give him the motivation that he needs.
Yeah, I mean, in the same sense too, also treat the same excitement that you have for someone hitting the golden door, treat that for one of your reps going for 200K,
Yeah,
150K,
exactly.
or 300K.
Yeah.
And that's why I say to Kate, I say, hey man, like, it's not like we're on a complete different spectrum. Like, you hit over 300K service revenue. That's not easy. But I also do want to make a shout out to Bruno.
Shout out Bruno.
Bruno, and you know, I don't expect people to baby me, to hold my hand. I always like the mentality of just, you know, be a man. But it's nice when people message you and like push you. And I wasn't getting a lot of messages, right? A lot.
He messaged me too, by the way, every day.
Did he?
What a G.
Really?
And he did that the year before too.
Guy knows what's up. And
shout out Bruno, man.
Bruno's awesome. And to be honest, I needed it.
But talk about the messages he sent.
Yeah, I mean, he said, hey man, I want to make sure that you get through this. And I know that you're not going alone, pouring rain, freezing cold, you know, no one's out there with you. So I want to be able to do whatever I can to support you. And there's no better way than taking quotes out of your most favorite book. And instantly I'm like, well, I don't read unless it's the Bible. So I think I know what you're talking about. So from then on, every day he would send me a Bible quote, a verse, and it was never on the same time of the day. It was always like, you know, 9 a.m. and then the next day would be noon, and then next day would be like 2 p.m. But it would always be times where I'd be working, or, you know, in the morning going out to area, or when I'm like in between doors and I see the message and it hits so much harder. And it's like, he genuinely wants you to succeed. And just seeing that message too. And then obviously I love the Bible too. And it's there's verses there that, you know, I've read before, and just refreshing my memory on them. It's like, that's a real friend. Like, that's a brother.
That's a brother.
And I love him for it. I mean, it helped a lot. I mean, were you getting like similar messages as well?
Yeah.
I'm sure it helped.
Of course. Just that feeling of like being seen when you're going for it. And again, just to kind of like finish my thought, it's just, as a leader, you can't let your reps feel like their goals are unimportant, or like they're a given, like it's going to happen, right? Even if it is, like, you know, statistically, like, yes, you're going to hit that goal. Like, you got to just make them feel like they're seen, heard, and the attention they need.
And you know me, right? I was, up until I hit it, when I was getting close and you start hearing like Ty Gallinger, Cade, Wes, Nico, and Brock and all of them. Yeah, and I was telling them, I said, like, same thing for birthdays. I'm like, don't throw me a birthday party. I don't want gifts. I don't want anything. I don't want a party. I just want to go drink a beer and watch a movie.
Right.
Same thing for this. I was like, I'm not telling you guys where I'm knocking. I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm not even gonna tell James. I don't want a golden door. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't want like you guys to show up. We'll go out for dinner. And I mean, even though I say I didn't like it, it's not so much the golden door or the champagne, or it's just, I appreciate that they care about it. I mean, it's recognition.
And I mean, I think, yes, and the celebration is awesome. Like, love it. But the more important place to support is in the lead up to that, right?
Of course, yeah.
Because, you know, like, yeah, it's just when you dedicate your whole year to something, and it's everything every single day, and then you have outside voices saying it's a given, you're going to hit it, that starts to play on your mind. Or it's almost like a little bit defeating. Like, yeah, I know I'm going to hit it, but like, bro, I'm going through the ringer right now. You know what I mean? But no, man, I mean, it's unreal, man. So you hit the golden door, and how you feel now, bro? You feel
good.
You feel like it's, like you said before, you sellied, but now it's to the side and you're focused on what's next.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself as someone that's like, and I don't know if I'm going to come across, you know, in a different way by saying this, but I don't see myself as someone whose whole life is like sales. I mean, it's a big aspect of my life, of course, but I don't want to make it my whole personality. So I think it's important. I mean, I do regret making it look hard. I think I've talked to you about this before. I wish that I would have hit it earlier, because the worst thing that I heard from Kate was going, I don't know if I'm going to go for it anymore because you're so much of a better salesman than me and you struggled. So I wish that I made it easier, and I know that I could have. I could have made different goals and done different things to hit it earlier. So would have made it seem a little bit more possible for people. And that's a big reason why I'm doing it, to just show people that it's possible, not only just for a golden door sales, but just in general, like in life, to set out goals that you're actually going to accomplish. It's nonstop. I hear people, I'm going to go do drop shipping. I'm going to go start a business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And they never do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make sure that not base everything on money, but it's a big aspect of life, especially like in this economy when, it's expensive to live, to just show that it's possible to be a young guy. You don't need to do, people are so lost on doing whatever they think they're supposed to do or whatever they're told, that they don't like chill out for a second and do things that they love or do things that they want to do. And in doing that and making a good income from it, I want to just basically be able to inspire people to do the same thing that I'm doing, whether it's in sales or in running a business or just bettering yourself at a young age.
Right. So what you're saying is you're thinking about next year doing it in shorter time?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and also, like I said before, like maybe no one else is going to go for a golden door next year, but whatever goal that they're going for, treating it the same way and just saying, hey, whether it's 100K off of a golden door or 200K off or 300K, maybe going for 400,000 service revenue, that goal is the same as me going for mine, maybe just at a different experience and skill level, right?
Yeah.
That'd be the same thing. You're still going to have those days. You're still going to struggle. You're still going to knock those postseasons and preseasons and have those rainy days, snowy days, whatever it may be. But if you can treat it the same way, I think the biggest thing is the golden door mentality.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Just knowing and having that mentality that you're a golden door rep, you are going to go out there and you are going to sell, is what's going to make you hit your goal. And then you're going to hit 400K, 500K. You're obviously going to eventually go for it.
Yeah.
We're going to birth a lot of golden doors at Aveda.
Yes, man. 100%. If God is willing. Yeah, I mean, it's a big reason why I'm going for 1,000 accounts. There's a laundry list of reasons, but one of them is just creating that ceiling, like creating that ceiling higher. It's the same for you trying to do it in a shorter amount of time. That ceiling gets higher, it creates more room for everybody else, right? So I think that's super important. And I want to talk about just the power of goals. Like we both experience the power of what having a goal that matters to us does to our actions and to our work ethic and just to our lives, right? Shout out Sam Taggart. If it wasn't for the golden door being created as a benchmark, I would make so much less money, right? And I would be a different person, because when you set out a goal and then you achieve that goal, it's not about the recognition or the accolades, right? It's about the person you become along the way, right? But how do you think guys can take what we went through with this golden door journey and apply it to that 200K, 300K? Because I feel like because it's not a benchmark that's talked about, it's harder for them to commit all the way to that number because it's an individual thing, not a public thing.
Do it. That's what I think. I mean, Cade did it. His goal was 300K, and he did it. And maybe it's just because he's a Dayton and it's in our blood, but it comes down to just do what you say, right? Whether you're going to be like a friend, husband, father, whatever it may be, you never want to be someone where they can't trust you when you say something. And I think that's a testimony to everyday life, right? And of course, I have a lot to learn. I'm young and I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, but I want to be the type of guy to be like, hey, let's do this, and it's going to happen. And I think now that I've done the golden door, and when I was at 0 service revenue, I said, it's done. I'm going to do it. And a lot of people say that and don't do it. A lot of people say that and don't even start. out of sales too, just in life. But the fact that I did it and I put 10 months of work towards it and I made it happen, now I generally feel that I'm working towards being a better man and being able to do what I say. I think it's the most important thing in life. And now when I tell people like, I'm going to be a multimillionaire or whatever it may be, there's just some credibility there. And I think having credibility as a man is important because that's the kind of people that I want to be around. And when I see Cade going for 300K after doing 75K in a couple months last summer, and he does it, that's where I'm like, that's my brother.
Yeah.
He does what he says.
Yeah.
And that's why we stick together, because we do what we say. We said we're going to do 2 million as an office, and we did it.
Yeah.
And having a group of guys like that, there's no bullshit. Like, we say what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, right?
Mm.
If you're slacking off, we're going to tell you. If you're wasting your time partying and whatever it may be, smoking weed, like I've had some friends I've done that where I've helped them stop or cut them off. There's no in between.
Mm-hmm.
It's the, what's that saying? The five people you associate yourself with is who you're going to become. And I want to become a better man. And in doing that, you have to do what you say.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the best thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah, I think committing to a goal is one of the most powerful things you can do to change your actions.
Well, you can see the difference between my last summer and this summer.
Yeah.
When I hit 200K, that was my goal. And then I go, what's next, right?
Yeah,
like 250, I got 2 more weeks. So then I slacked off.
Right.
Whereas now I'm like, I don't have time to slack off, man. Like I got to hit, like we're going into December.
And the cool thing about the golden door that, you know, maybe guys can apply on the number or goal that they want to hit is that there's no negotiating it. You can't say, hey, Sam, let's change it to 650.
650. Put it back to 650.
Listen, I'm kind of behind. I'm going to change it to 650. Okay, Sam? Right? There's no negotiating.
Call the office. Can I get some extra sales? Can someone go knock for me? Cade, can you come out and knock doors and sign them up under my account? It's like, what are we doing here?
You can't negotiate it, right? And I think like a lot of times reps pick a goal and then it's so easy for them to negotiate because it's not reinforced, right?
Mid-season mathematician.
Yep. And I think I'm a big believer in it. If like, that's why you have to be so careful when you pick your goal. And it needs to be backed by like a true belief, right?
What? By God.
Yeah. But I think sometimes like the mistake that's made is guys make too lofty goals that's not backed by any sort of evidence. And then...
Or on the other side of the spectrum, they shoot themselves short.
Yeah, for sure. So I think like something that scares you, but there is a little bit of evidence to you achieving it. For instance, like, okay, hey, I can sell 5 a day, 2 days of the week, or that's what my numbers look like this summer. And like, go through your summer, look at all the days, right? And then look at maybe your top days of the week. Maybe you hit 3 a couple times, or maybe it's 2 a couple times, then 1s and 0s, and say, hey, if I could just sell 2 every single day of the week, what does that look like? Right.
And another thing to say that is, that's what I did. I said, hey, I have to work 2 times longer, 2 times harder. But I'm not just saying that, right? It's not like, okay,
you showed the signs.
Yeah. And it's also not like, all right, I was servicing an average 2.83 sales a day, 3 point, whatever it was, 3.5. I need to start servicing 5 a day. It's not like I'm just saying that it's going to happen. It's like, you got to do something to do that. It's not like, oh, next summer I'm going to be a better salesman and it happens. You got to, write down your pitch, make sure that you're role playing, get out on the doors early, make sure that you're knocking your hours and doing those things to get to that position. It's not just like automatically, boom, next year's totally different and just going to be better because I've already knocked a summer and I have experience. That's one thing, but making a goal that's, for me, almost 4x what I did, for Cade 5x what he did, it's not just the idea of setting a goal itself, it's making sure that that goal is established and also backed up by actions and also responsibilities that you're going to do to make sure that that goal goes smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Like you showed the signs when we had that conversation on the phone, I actually believed it. But the reason why I like truly believed it wasn't because you had strong conviction on that phone call. I mean, it's part of it, but it was the fact that you're like, hey, I'm willing to work X amount of days. You know, you've sold 10 bombs in your rookie year. You had that firepower behind you. You had, you know, a 30 week, I think. I don't know.
I think 35, yeah.
35 week as a rookie. So it was backed by evidence, and it was like, all right, yeah, I actually believe it. As long as you're willing to like level up, put in the work, like I think this is actually achievable. And I think just reps a lot of the times, like they just want the shortcuts. For me, if you would have told me in even my second year, that's why I think you're a lot more talented than me. And like, it's crazy that you're doing this at 20. But in me in my second year of pest control, third year of sales, at the beginning of that year, if you would have told me that, James, you can hit a golden door, I would have said, not a chance, no chance. Because the evidence wasn't there. It would have been delusional thinking. And I know, like, I don't know, there's a lot of people that say, think delusionally. I'm just not one of those guys. I didn't believe I could hit a golden door until I finished that year and did 325K. And then, you know, you get to that mountaintop and then you see the peak of the other mountaintop.
Yeah.
And that's when I was
unlocking levels. It's a game.
Yeah. So I think like a lot of reps, maybe you're at 100K, and I know part of you wants to say, I'm going for the golden door, but just understand, like, you locking in on 300K or whatever the number is for you and actually following through on that and achieving it is like the natural progression of how you actually hit a golden door, right? Like, it's not just something that you have no evidence of. You shout it to the rafters, you train hard, and you show up and you just get it done. And I know there might be some cases like that, but it's the 0.001%. It's like, if you want a realistic approach, it's just brick by brick, right? And
the delusion aspect, I would say that I'm partially delusional too.
Yeah.
Like when I was competing against you as a rookie, right? Just out of my head. But I think you do have to be a little bit delusional. You obviously, of course, want to make sure the numbers make sense. But what you were saying about how you think that I was more talented than you, I don't necessarily agree, because I think that if you had what you were to me, to you when you were first starting out, I think that you would have done it a lot sooner, right? You were the first, you were the, and not to give you even more flowers, I'm going to be glazing, but you did pave the path, right? You were the first that did it. It wasn't something that was normalized when you were doing it. You were the first to do it in Canada. No one's done it before you. You doing it was like, this has never been done before. Now that it has been done, I said, well, hey, if I could try to keep up with you, I'll at least get close. So if you had someone saying, yeah, do it, I've done it, to you when you finished your second year or whatnot, I don't believe that you wouldn't have believed in yourself, because I think mentorship is extremely important. So I genuinely believe that if there was if you were James Fraser Jr. and there was a James Fraser in your ear, I don't believe that you wouldn't have believed in yourself. I don't know. I'm not trying to call you out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that you would have had a much different approach. I think that you would have been more successful in your rookie year, more successful in your sophomore, and then in your vet, I think that you would have at least gone for it. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to say when it, can't go back
I just
and
think
do it.
that like when I hit that 325K, that's what I was going for, committed to it. I did what I said. I got it done. I knocked postseason. I knocked preseason. I got it done. And like that was the confidence. Like, that's how you actually get real confidence, right? Is like doing what you say, like following through. I don't know, man. I just feel, and I get what you're saying, and I know there needs to be a level of delusion, but I just think like with a strategy of like hitting goals that are scary, that push you, that are lofty, but are also have a hint of evidence, right?
I would
that recipe will get you further than just saying, hey, I've never sold 5 in my life, but next year I'm going to sell 7 every day. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but I think you are like I guess shooting yourself low or whatever, because if it wasn't for you hitting the golden door, I would have just thought that it was an American thing. Yeah. It's not possible here. So, I mean, maybe eventually, years down the road, or even a couple years, I would have started to question it, because I know that I go out, I work my ass off every day. I would have thrown down either way, and then eventually I'd be like, well, hey, if I work a postseason, I could probably get close to it. I'm going to try to go for that golden door. But I think having it like ingrained that I'm going to do it has a lot to do with you. So I think that if you had someone like yourself is to me, I think that it would have been a different story.
Right.
So it's easy to say that when you were the first to do everything, but I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think.
And I do think there's something to say about like a rookie year going in their sophomore year. Like the ramp is going to be a lot more steep. Does that make sense? Like if you're a rookie, like if you were to tell me like a vet that's just done 200K every single year can all of a sudden pop up, then that would be like amazing. That would be a huge, but
as a rookie, you don't know your fullest potential.
yeah,
I mean,
you haven't reached it yet.
I love the mentality that we always don't have or not at our fullest potential, but you are right about that, right? I think this year, for me, I was able to unlock it, not just in terms of like skill, but in terms of mentality, mindset, as well as knowing that I'm the type of guy to work 70 hours a week, 10 months straight.
Yeah.
I think that's testimony to myself to be able to do it for the future.
Yeah, and not to be contradictory here, but I do think like, yeah, there's so many limits we put on ourselves. And I think like that's going back to what we learned in the postseason. Like we learned that the sales there aren't out there early. Like me and Ty literally have just been working a 9 to 5. And that's how I felt last year too. It's a 9 to 5. Like 4 p.m. it starts getting dark. 5 p.m. it's pitch black. And like naturally it's like, if we're being honest with ourselves, that's normally when we like tend to wrap it up. Probably should stay out there till 7, but it's pitch black.
And then in the summer, that's usually when we start to like, all right, prime time. And I remember talking to you about it. You know, I sold 9 like from like 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. about 5:30.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking, I'm like, dude, if I did that before prime time,
Yeah.
then I would have sold like 15.
Right.
But it just comes down to the mentality that you got a certain amount of time, and it's how hard you work for that amount of time. In the summer, we got so much time. We think, oh, whatever, it's 2 p.m. I got 2 sales.
And the decision makers are home in the morning and during the day. There's sales out there always. And I kind of talked about this before, but it kind of, when you see guys like Marshall Hawks, guys like Aubert L'Esperance, Zach Seeger hitting millions of revenue, 1.3, 1.5, whatever, right? And you start to say, how the heck do they do that? But then when you kind of go through what we went through, where we're at 8 sales by 5 p.m., but it's dark, so we head home. We're like, that's kind of the light bulb of like the next level of reaching those. It's not like, oh, they have better objection handling or this or that. It's just like they put in way more hours, right?
And effort.
Yeah.
I think we knock the same hours that they do in the summer, or close enough, but I break up my day into 2 days. Like I have a lunch break and then I go.
Yeah.
I think the mentality that I would have is break it up into 3 days. For me, I mean, just like the morning, noon, and then after.
And I don't know. I don't know if I almost want to call Cap on Aubert L'Esperance, but if that guy actually is speaking to 75 decision makers a day, like that's it.
It's insane.
It's incredible.
Something Holmes, his name.
Yeah. Andy Holmes. Like
375 people talk to a day.
Like that, like
something like that. It was crazy.
If we could do that,
yeah, man,
we would have the same numbers.
I don't know. I mean, I would think that there's a lot less people home in a neighborhood in Canada than there is in the US. I don't know, man. Because I think in Canada, it's just very normal, like especially the Indians, it's very normal for them to just work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week and never be home.
It could be that, but sometimes I'm grinding and I feel like I'm getting good FaceTime and I'm prospecting well. And I'm just
I would say the most people I've ever talked to in a day is 60.
Aubert, let us know in the comments, man, if you see this.
Secrets,
like,
man.
Are you capping, man? Are you actually talking to 75? Are you just saying that because your reps listen to the podcast? Like, you got to tell us.
Knock your hours, boys.
But yeah, I mean, that's something that we learned was that their sales are out there during the day. And if we can take that same schedule that we've applied this postseason to the actual season, like that's how we hit that next tier, right? Yeah. And also, man, just knocking you around. Like, let's talk about that for a little bit. Like, Dude, we're in Canada. It's freezing cold, man.
Right.
And we're throwing down 6 sails, 7 sails, whatever, right? Like, I don't know, talk to us, talk to me about, like, I don't know, I guess like the group think that we have that you can't sell pest control during cold weather, I guess.
I think it's a different skill level, right? You go from summer selling pest control to postseason selling the idea of pest control. And the biggest thing for me was, especially in preseason, right? When there was like literally snow on the ground, and it's not like I can tell them a scientific reason of why the bugs are not, out. It's like they're not. They don't see anything. They see a couple spiders, if anything. And that was the biggest objection. Well, come back in the spring. Why are you here? And I think the biggest thing is being the salesman to be like, well, hey, if we start it now, we know where they are, right? We get that flush out. It's going to make sure in spring you're going to see a lot less activity when we come to our second treatment and whatnot. And the technician would show up with a Webster pole and sweep the soffits.
Right.
And I think you got to be realistic. I had a 50% SSP because of that. The suspend polyzone would freeze or whatever. So they were just sweeping the soffits, and I was telling them crack and crevice treatment, spraying. I just didn't know, right?
Yeah.
So I think you got to be real and be like, okay, well, if you're going out and you're having a 50% SSP and you're selling 1 or 2 a day because it's snowing or whatever, is it worth it? And I think for me, it was worth it for the mentality aspect of it, just being the guy that does that stuff. But if I'm not going to hate on someone saying that they're going to go for a golden door that aren't starting in January.
Right.
I'm going to say maybe, do it just to do it.
Yeah.
But if they go, hey, I'm going to start in like February.
Yeah.
March.
Or March, yeah.
Whatever, right? So I think, and then in terms of the postseason, it's just you're taking less people out yard. It's raining. A lot of people aren't down to go out in the backyard in the pouring rain. So you just got to be a little bit more creative. You got to be, get their attention quick, and then just make it make sense. You have to be extremely simple. Make it like dumb it down a ton.
Yeah.
And just make it make sense for them. And then they're willing, as well as the one thing that I do appreciate about knocking pre and postseason is you kind of have to pitch the year-round service, right? It doesn't make sense for them to sign up for a one-time service when there's like snow on the ground or when it's pouring rain and freezing.
Right.
You kind of have to pitch the idea that, hey, we're after the first treatment, we're going to get it started, the full disrupt treatment, say a service report, do the service inspection. But it's really in the spring and the summer when we're going to come back and kind of finish it off. And I think it helps with retention for sure.
Yeah.
Right? If they're started, they're like, I don't want to go to waste. I want them to come back when the bugs are actually out. So I guess there's pros and cons to that as well.
Yeah. And yes, I think you definitely have to be good at pitching preventative, and we can maybe talk about that. But also I feel like a lot of it's just in our heads.
100%.
People still need pest control in the winter. And I think like maybe we tell ourselves we don't really believe it, like different changes of weather drive different pest activity, but it actually does. Like we talked about, some of the easiest accounts are stink bugs that come out in the fall, spiders, right? Like some people get coated in spiders around this time of year. Mice, they're just like us. When it gets cold, they push inside. But like genuinely, like I felt like the issues are equal to what it is in the summer. It's just different pests. It's like, yeah, there's ants in the spring and whatnot, but during the winter, there's way more spiders. So honestly, like, again, I felt that there was actually the exact same level of ease of selling, honestly. I can tell by your face you don't quite agree with that. But I think where the struggle with it is in the mindset of no one else is out here doing it.
No, I mean, I can agree to you to some extent. I mean, I think that there would be neighborhoods that I would go to that were like, there was like absolutely nothing, right? And I'm sure you understand that. But in the summertime, it can happen too, right? Where you don't really see anything. Like Canada's not as buggy as the US. Like we can go up to someone's house and there's like actually no ants, there's no spiders, and there's no wasps, right? There's sometimes people that are like, okay, I can kind of do it for prevention. But I mean, in the postseason, you are right. Like, I think I ran into a lot more greens than I would expect. I thought it was going to be a grind like it was in the preseason when it was snowing, but there was some people that were like, how much is it? $250? Okay.
Yeah, and maybe they got pitched a bunch of different times in the summer, passed on it. Then it's the same kind of thing. Or just the nudge factor was definitely there. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, I just think like there's a trade off. Okay, you're not those customers that maybe would have signed up in the summer because they had ants. Well, now there's another customer that has no ants in the summer, but they got mice in the winter, right? So my whole thing is like the sales are definitely out there. I think where the struggle comes in is like the herd mentality of like, damn, there's no one else out here.
And a lot of people aren't knocking when we are. We're like some of the only people knocking on doors right now.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, way less competition.
So it's like
way
at
less.
that point when someone gets a knock on their door, you know, they think it's a package or one of their neighbors banging on their door, and then they see us, and a lot more people. I felt a lot more people were answering the door, and it might be because of that. And, and it's easy to make sense.
The whole invite you inside. Come inside. It's freezing.
That's perfect. The best, man. And my shoes are soaking wet and they reek. And
yeah.
Like I can't take my shoes off. I'm sorry. They're like, oh, it's fine. Their house is like spotless. I know they're just getting the vacuum right when I leave.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, that was just like a big takeaway. Obviously, the thing that I would say is most limiting is this daylight. Like it kind of sucked having to wrap up during prime time when everyone is home, decision makers are home. So I would say that was just the kind of, besides like if you can have like ourselves, like dude, we had some days where we threw down.
Oh yeah,
I sold 8, you sold 7, 15 sales, wrapped it up by 5. You know what I mean? So I just think like if you can get a kick-ass team where you don't have to deal with that limiting belief of like I'm the only one out here, everyone else is home, and yeah, you can just stay disciplined with like knocking until 6 o'clock or
yeah, and be the guy that's just like, I'm doing it because I can, and I like doing hard things, and I think that's the biggest thing that would go through my head when I would be struggling and be pouring rain or freezing cold, especially towards the end, man. I was typing on my phone like this because I couldn't move my fingers. Yeah. My iPad's water damage is not charging. I'm like doing the water eject sound all night. But I think the biggest thing is when I'm in those moments, it like fires me up. Even when I'm not on a Sunday, or when I'm struggling at time, because I just go, okay, I'm struggling, and I'm a decent salesman. No one's doing this.
Right.
Like I just love doing it because I know that no one else wants to do this. No one's willing to do this.
Yes.
And then that's kind of what keeps me going, because in life, whether you're in door-to-door sales or running your own business or even at a corporate job, if you are always constantly the guy that's doing something that no one wants to do, that's how you are going to differentiate yourself from them. And that's how you are going to be one of the successors, because you're literally doing stuff that no one wants to do.
Yeah.
And I think there's
something so motivating about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mentality that I've always kind of had.
Yeah.
Right? Even growing up, like going to the, it was kind of mental, but I would go to the gym at 5 a.m. Then I would go to school, and then I would go to the gym after school, and I would do that all week. I was going to the gym for 14 days a week.
Yeah.
Or 14 times a week, sorry. And it's like, it's not good for you, but I just was doing stuff that no one would really do.
Yeah.
And I did it through sports, through school, and now in sales. And it goes back to, it's not about the goal, it's about who you become as a person leading up to it, and the personal development that you get. And if you just are constantly sharpening on that and constantly building those skills, then you have just like an unstoppable force. I think you've developed into that person that's like, people instantly take you seriously. Like when you walk into a room, I don't care if people think it's cringe, there's a bit of an aura, right? Like you walk into the room and you do some metaphor verses, you're just like, I'm going to say something, and you can just see everyone go, and it's like, this guy got fucking aura, dude. So, and I think that doesn't come, and that's why I love this job so much, because it's earned. There's no, I guess, just corporate positional leadership. You're in that position because you've earned it. So I'm not gonna, no one can talk shit to you, right? They can try, but you're not there because someone hired you because of a resume, right? You're there because you worked your ass off from the bottom, and we're in the position we are because we worked our asses off. And I think that's why there's a level of respect that you get because of what you've done and
Mm-hmm.
the hard shit that you've gone through. So I think if you're always doing hard things, it's eventually going to pay off, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it just gives you that edge, right? When you're just that last man standing mentality, right? Like,
Iron Man.
yeah. Yeah. When you, and that, I feel like that's like what truly winning in business is. It's like, who is the last man standing, right? And yeah, I think, yeah, going back to like summer sales, it's like, who's willing to knock postseason when it's cold and it's grindy and there's no one else out there. You know what I mean?
And I feel as we progress more into the job,
Mm.
you realize that it's to be successful, it's more or less about the job. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like it's actually more of exterior factors
Yes.
than what's
Yes.
actually what you're actually doing. Not even just
Yeah.
the why, the reasons, but just
Not the pitch, not the
I can't stand when people ask me about like the pitch and stuff. And you know what? I wish I recorded more of my pitches because it's like, I mean, I can't wait for that video to go out because you could just see it. It's just like I'm laying on the grass. Yeah, we're gonna do this. And I don't lay on the grass for everybody, but I generally just make jokes. And sometimes it's like, yeah, hey, I'm the bug guy, killing the bugs. 50 neighbors this way we're doing. So we come up from Langley, save some money when we do it all together. You know this stuff already. You probably talked to somebody. But yeah, I mean, my sales pitch to you is just saving you time. I can make it cheap and get all these spiders done. And it's like, if a rookie heard that, they'd be like, what? Like,
Yeah.
this guy's a coward, man. This guy tells me to do this whole intro but
well, to be fair, I think that like there is a skill, like what you said, at a certain point. So up until that point, like it is like you have to learn the skill set that it takes to sell at a high level consistently. Right?
Yeah, and that's why I don't tell people, and I'm not the best at helping people with their pitch, because if you heard mine, it's like I say some wild things like, oh, dude, you're a rich guy. Come on, give me a chance. It's like if some rookie were to say that, the person might be like, actually, I'm not. And that's a really personal thing to say, and like whatever.
Right. You don't want to like add, yeah.
So I think for me, it's a big thing is I have a good understanding of, psychology, and also just I'm good at reading people.
Yeah.
And I can kind of feel like
you're a master
energy.
at it.
I'm all right.
Like I think when you when you cross that echelon, it's like you're a master at reading people.
Okay, yeah, I get, you could say it like that,
and that's why it kind of.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I'm a master of anything, Yeah.
Sure, of course,
but I would say that
but for me, it's like
it's a sale before they even say yes, like the first 30 seconds,
or you just pick up on like little patterns, right? Like, oh, they're like click, like this person could be sold. Like, let me.
And then going into ACV, I'm sure you're probably going to bring it up.
Yep.
That's. I mean, we don't need to go too deep into it, but that's another thing, right? Understanding right away, but not showing that you understand it, right? They still want to make you almost not earn it, but they don't want to just give it up right away and be agreeing. They still want to even though they're in their head like, I need this, they're still like, okay, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? They want to make sure that there's value there.
Yeah.
So I would always utilize that opportunity to just build the most value. A lot of people, they go into your green, oh yeah, it was like a 5-minute sale. No, I make that like a 10-minute sale, 15-minute sale. And I'm just building as much value as I can.
Right.
And I'm selling the account that's worth 2.
Yeah.
Just because I'm able to build enough value for this guy who probably was already agreeing that was going to sign up for $200 a visit.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm breaking into the bi-monthly treatments, $100 a month. It's double the value of it.
And I want to break that down. But first I want to go back because I think it's really interesting what you said about at a certain point, it's not about the job itself. It's not about, saying the pitch and how you say the pitch and overcoming objections. It's not about that. It's about all the stuff outside of the job. So what does that look like though? Like what are all the stuff outside of the job that it takes to go to that next tier? Like what would you say they are?
I mean, don't waste your time with women. I think that's a big thing. Don't
Okay.
waste your time at parties.
Distractions.
Yeah, distractions. Don't waste your time with people that are not on the same path as you. I think there's so many, and I think distractions is the number one thing. And maybe I'm going like too into details with it, but people love to waste time and do nothing. And my parents always, not my dad, my mom though, is always like, you work too much. I love it. I'd rather
Mhm.
work than, and you can call me a loser, whatever you want. I would rather work than go sit, I don't know, at a park or
Yeah.
go on vacation or something. Like I love working. I think you got to work hard, play hard. But when I think about my life, I want to be with my boys, drive supercars, hang out, go travel a little bit here and there, but I also just want to dial in and work all the time. I think my life is nothing without constantly working. I think it can build so much value into your life, but distractions is the devil, right? The lady in the
Yeah.
red dress. You
Yeah.
have to take out all distractions. And I'm not saying you got to cut off your best friends or cut off your parents, but you have to have some level of respect with yourself to make sure that you're accountable. And in terms of doing that, you got to make sure that other people understand your goal as well.
Yeah.
That's why I put it out there. People might have, some old friends that are used to hanging out with me a lot here and there, going to the gym or whatever it may be. They understand, like, hey, maybe on a Sunday, or let's go to church, or
Mhm.
you know what, maybe after you're done working, we can hang out for a little bit. And they start to understand your schedule as well because they understand your goals.
Mhm.
And then the people that don't understand your goals probably shouldn't be people that you should have in your life. I mean,
Mhm.
if they are not willing to make a sacrifice in terms of your relationship with them, and they're not in the same path and they're not doing the same things, maybe you shouldn't have them in your life.
Mhm.
But in terms of other things, I mean, obviously scripture is important for me
Mhm.
outside of work. Like that's, my faith is huge. Um, but also just, I think for me is developing into the man that I know God wants me to become. I think my life goal is not to knock doors forever.
Mhm.
Secretly, my boys know this. I want to be a race car driver eventually. F1, but
You kind of look
uh,
like one. I could see it. Ty Dayton sounds like one too.
champagne. But no, I mean there's also other things like other aspects of life other than just sales, and I think if you develop those first,
Mhm.
it just makes this job so much easier.
Yeah.
It's like builds a foundation.
Yeah, and just to quickly touch on it, I feel like because I resonate with that, it's all that stuff outside, and it's just like you got to keep your knocking hours sacred, right? It's almost like a game, like a we're like athletes, right? It's for me, it's like when you're in a soccer game or a rugby game, you're not thinking about, oh, let me go get a sip of water. You're like all in on the game, right? You're like dialed, right? And I think like to get to that next level, it's almost like you need to have that thoughts. And you think about your best day. Everyone on this podcast can think about their best day, whether it was 3 accounts, 4 accounts, 5 accounts, 6 accounts, especially if you're high performer and you hit that 10 accounts or whatever. You were dialed. You probably had the same mentality that you did when you're at a rugby game, right? Like you were dialed. You're thinking about the next sales schedule. Okay, where's next? Where's next, right? Um, and I feel like yeah, all the distractions outside of the job, like to get that next level, it's like they're better at just like boxing that out. And it's even something I'm struggling with now is like just being able to clock in and clock out and not focus on all the exterior stuff. I think it's super important. The other thing is like the strategy of area as a high performer.
That's my biggest alt. My experience in areas was the downfall of some of my worst days.
Right.
Just not proper area management, like knocking areas that are rinsed.
Oversaturated, right?
Yeah, I mean
Or
that's something that next year it's like, okay, I'm gonna plan out this entire month.
yeah.
And
Marshall
hiccups
Hawk,
happens.
shout out Marshall Hawks. Like he mapped out his whole summer.
And just always constantly knowing that I have an area to go to. And
It's the best feeling in the world when like when you're in an area, and sales reps will like agree with this. When you have an area, it's a big area, and you know that you feel good in it. You know that there's sales in it, and you just wake up that morning, you know exactly your address you're gonna go to.
that's a huge. I had my biggest week or biggest month. Well, yeah, biggest week and my biggest month. I think it was 120,000 sold, and then 112,000 service or 110,000 service, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it was solely because of that, because it's just every day I was like not worrying about area. And if I could get to that level of experience in terms of writing or drawing up area, that's what's going to make it super easy for me next year.
And Jason Steger, shout out Jason Steger.
Whatever.
He gave me a piece of advice that has stuck with me to this day is what really leveled me up in my second year. He said, figure out what you like to knock and then knock it.
So simple, but
So simple. But if you can just do that, like for me this year, like new builds were really, really good for me. Like I really figured out new builds, like pitching preventative if they didn't have issues. And then obviously if they did have issues, they were great. Like even right now, like townhomes, it's like my areas, I'm kind of going through the same thing. It's like, oh, just a huge relief, right? But if you can figure out first what you like to knock, then it's easier to map out your summer.
it got to the point where it was just so dialed. If you can get to that level of confidence, a big help towards it is knocking the area that you have knocked in for a while. And I think when I was in West Vancouver, that's what happened. I was there for 2 weeks. And then I started to understand
You break it in.
you break it in.
feel
You
comfortable.
know the issues, you know the kind of people that are there, like in West Vancouver, hey, keep it short, pest control, $200 a visit, get you done tomorrow. Okay. And sometimes my sales were like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the Lower Mainland. I think it'd be so funny for people that are not from Canada or not from even Vancouver to knock it, because it's just it's like each city is like a different
It's
country.
a melting pot.
It's like it's so ridiculous. And that's another reason why I don't track my numbers, because I go knock Surrey and it's like 50% callbacks, 40% doors knocked. It's like, what's the point of tracking my numbers if it's like, when am I going to knock Surrey and be like, okay, every 40 doors I knock on, I'm going to sell 2 or 3. And then I go to West Vancouver and it's like every 10 doors I knock on, I'm going to sell 3 or 4, because it's like less people, but higher income and also better understanding of pest control. It's a lot of switchovers. Or even Chilliwack to Wasson. It's so completely different for me. I just don't see the value in tracking the numbers. But I guess over the years of doing it, when you have an entire summer of data, and that's where you can go, okay, in the wide spread of things, this is the general average.
And I think,
do you understand in that point?
Yeah, and I think, like, just to push back a little bit, I think for the average rep, you have to track your numbers. Because if you don't track your numbers, you're only selling 2 or 3 a day, then your mental goes crazy.
I would say, like, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm a little different, a little special ed, but
no, it's good to know.
Tracking numbers is good.
It's good to know the true, though. Like the true, like, you know what I mean? You're not out here blowing smoke. You're saying exactly what it is. Okay. Now I want to pivot a little bit.
Okay.
I want you to talk about your ACV. So here's the context. My ACV improved drastically. My first year doing a golden door, I did a 780 ACV, 837 accounts. And this year, when I hit my golden door, I was at 860 ACV. A huge part of why it improved was because of you. And you were just out there selling these crazy big accounts. And it kind of forced me to be like, oh, I can't sell these cheapo accounts. Again, it was just the environment that I was in, seeing you do it every day. And it almost would, like the year before that, I could get away with it because I was the only one selling volume. Now there was no excuse, right? So your ACV this summer with your golden door was 923 ACV and 815 accounts. That brought you to obviously the 750K. So yeah, let's just talk ACV for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that you always go back to is the college mentality, right? Of $200, $800 for the year. And it's like, for like broke college students, that's a lot of money. I think the biggest thing for me that made me realize to start selling higher accounts is when I started making a lot of money. Like, I was like, okay, $200 or even $100 a month, it's not that much money, right? Like, my monthly expenses just to live here is like, I think this year was like $5,000 to $6,000 a month. And of course, I wasn't budgeting too hard, but when I realized that, I was like, well, okay, I mean, if I could afford this service, then these people that are making even some of them more money than I am, should be able to budget for it. So I think that was the biggest thing. Making it make sense for them is the first part, and that's just what we naturally do. It's sales. But then making it make sense for them to pay more than the normal service would cost for pest control if they've actually, budgeted out before. was the second thing. So I think the big thing probably that you noticed is we were told in switchovers to match the price or do a better price. Hey, I'm going to do more for less.
Right.
When in reality, that it's almost a bit of a pullback when you say, yeah, we're actually a bit of a more expensive service,
Right.
and you hold that, right?
I'm
And then
still pretty bad at that.
yeah, I
We're a
mean,
lot cheaper.
yeah, it's a lot easier. Even nowadays when I do switchovers, especially when I was just trying to wrap up the golden door, I was like, yeah, more for less. Make it a
Right.
no-brainer. We're gonna do this much, this, X, X, Y. And then we're gonna do it for cheaper. Save you money. It's a no-brainer. You're already budgeting for it. I'll save you some change, do a better job, and we're local. It's so much easier to sell. But then I started saying, well, hey, you're paying $200 a visit. It's $50 extra, but here's how much more you're gonna be getting from us. So it's one of those things where if a rep were to go back to one of their canceled customers and say, oh, hey, I'll do it cheaper than whatever they said that they were going to do it for, they're going to be like, well, I actually spent more money. So I think I'm okay because they're doing a good job.
Right.
They're doing this for me. So it's also one of those things where it's better for retention as well. But in terms of just a natural sale, really, there's a couple things that I did. There was the option close, and then there was adding things in the upsell. So, I mean, there's so many things that you can do. I had, just to give like a couple examples, I had a customer that I signed up, and then she said, I have a mouse infestation in my garage over there. It's a detached garage. It's horrible. I run my business from there, and there's always mice. They're eating through her stuff, causing a bunch of damage. I could have easily said, yeah, okay, we'll go put some base stations around there, no problem. But instead, I signed it up as a completely different account. Because I was able to build enough value. I said, well, it's not attached to your house. It's considered this much square feet. We're going to have to sign up a different account. I can take off $100 off the first visit. So it'll be about $900 for the year for the garage. Done. Do it. If it's a big enough problem for them, it's a big enough problem for them to spend the money on it.
Right.
And when you think, and that comes down to even, I don't want to go over the place, but that comes down to even the decision maker always being the man. It's not true. The wife will go down to Louis Vuitton and buy a $5,000 bag, no problem. She can spend $1,000 on pest control if it makes sense for her.
Yeah.
And in terms of the big accounts, because I did have some monster accounts, I love challenges, right? So I remember we made a different pricing for Rob when he wanted to sign up 3 homes. It was like a $3,200 account. And of course I looked at that like, all right. So then it got to the point where I said, hey, to this one, I did this thing 4 times in the summer, 3 times for like those like really big accounts. Yeah, it's $200 a visit. And one of them was a canceled customer who spent $750 the year before and canceled. And I said, hey, it's $200 a visit. You could have us come quarterly, bi-monthly, or monthly. You could choose whichever one you want to do. And she said, well, what do you recommend? Well, I don't want to be biased, but obviously if you do it monthly, we're going to nuke these guys. Okay, let's do it monthly. Check your upfront $2,400. But also understanding if it's a big enough issue, like I was saying before, it's a big enough issue for them to spend the money on it. And I had 2 $3,200 accounts where one of the ladies, she was Chinese family, they do really well for themselves. And there was rats digging holes. And I was talking about how like you can get in the irrigation system, spray the water everywhere, it could get into the wall voids. And they were actually having those issues and seeing them dig these tunnels. So I said, hey, it's $200 a month. And they're like, okay. And then I was like, all right. And the first treatment's the big one though. Okay, how much is it? It's $1,000. Okay, let's do it. And I'm like, hell yeah. And it's like worth like basically 4 accounts. But in terms of just because those are kind of one-offs, or maybe like I did like 10 accounts over 2,000, or probably 6 accounts over 2,000 ACV. But for the general, I was showing you my top, because the ACV 920 doesn't seem like that crazy.
Yeah.
But when you see that I've sold $600 contract values,
Right.
a lot of them, like 600, 650, 700 contract values,
Right.
and it still equals out to be the 920, then if you look at the metric, my top 100 is my top 100 sales, the 100th cheapest contract value was like 1,100.
Yeah.
So I have over 100 accounts that are more than 1,100, and that's just because of basic things. Hey, we need to get that tops off it, pull back, anytime we have to use a ladder, we charge $200 just to take the ladder out. It's kind of a big thing, work safe BC, but I don't think you want to do it. No, I want to do it. Right. We'll do that. It's $200 extra. Or you want the mosquitoes, even though they already had the same price for covering the mosquitoes. Okay, it's going to be an extra $50. Little things like that
Right.
I'm sure a lot of the people that are watching already know.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between already knowing it and then actually doing it. Right? We know all these things, and there's so many things that we know that we always forget to do. That is something that it's good to just get a constant reminder of it. And in doing that is just going to help your ACV.
Yeah. Like, so takeaway there is sell on value when doing switchovers, because most of the time, if a customer's willing to switch over, there's probably something that they're a little bit unhappy with the other company. So like they're willing to pay more for like a better service, right? They're not getting their needs met. It doesn't mean that you need to just go right to beating the price.
And I think about myself, like even a basic example of, I have my car in the shop right now getting wrapped. If he were to say it's going to cost you $500, I would be like, and I'm agreeing, to be honest, but I would be like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm going to hold off for a little bit.
Yeah.
But he said, okay, it's going to be $1,400. Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's more money, but sometimes the more the price is, the bigger the value, especially if it's something that you care about. For me, it was a car.
Yeah.
I want to make sure they're doing a good job. I don't want a cheap job. But for someone's house, we're talking like a $2-3 million house. They want to make sure that the pest control is good. It's safe for their pets, safe for their garden or whatever, and it's doing the job. And if we could touch on and make it quick too, the main 3-4 things that is going to be different from a competitor company, and then making it more expensive, it just builds that much more value. And it's also not a typical thing that a salesman does. So it builds trust. When you make it more expensive, it doesn't seem like you're a sales prostitute when you're just like, I'll do it for cheaper, I'll do it for cheaper, and desperate. It seems like you're there for business. And then another thing in terms of being there for business is sometimes I wouldn't price drop. I remember I told you that, you're like, what? In terms of some people, I'd be like, hey, I'm not going to tell you how much it usually costs. I'm going to tell you what you need and how much it's going to cost. But even for a regular person, I wouldn't even do a crazy discount. Hey, it's going to be $100 a month. It's our first treatment that's the most expensive, usually $450, knocking off $200. And it's only a $200 discount, but they're already sold on it. I just don't even want to waste my time confusing them, going, it's usually $150 a month. I'm taking off $50. I just say it how it is.
Yeah.
Where sometimes I just say, there's the, you can kind of catch yourself in this one so you don't lose the sale, but you say, yeah, it's $100 a month or $80 a month. First treatment's $400. And just by their reaction, if they go,
right,
then you can kind of go, oh, okay. Well, of course, that's before the discount. I mean, that would be if you were to call us up from a website. If you were to let me take care of you after I'm done with Susan, I would be doing that first treatment for actually 50% off. So it'd just be $200. But then you get those sales where they go, okay, yeah,
right,
let's do it.
There's anchor high, make sure you pause a little bit, see how they kind of react, right? And I think the big kind of overarching theme, I mean, the reality is, if you want to have I think Tyler Wyman said this, shout out Tyler Wyman, but he said, hey, you want to have a high ACV, say a high price. Like that's the reality of it, right? But I think like the takeaway from you is there's always those sales where you know it's a sale. They have a genuine problem. They're asking you buying questions. And instead of just kind of rushing to a price, getting a quick sale, take the time to build that value. Take the time to explain everything.
And to be a doctor, right? There's the saying that you always say, especially us being athletes, if you got an injury and the doctor just looks at you and goes, you're going to need 3 months off, you're going to be like, screw you, I'm going back on the field tomorrow. But if he were to start asking you a bunch of questions, tapping you with a little hammer and feeling it and like getting you to do movements and then say, hey, you got to take 3 months off, you take it more seriously. So same thing with sales. I always ask, questions that a lot of people wouldn't, right? Like the first thing, and I go right into it and with like a different level of confidence, right? So yeah, we're out here just taking care of the insects and the rodents. You guys mice inside or outside? Mice are inside. Okay, perfect. You've heard them in the walls yet? Sounds like this. Or have you just seen the droppings? Just droppings. Perfect. Are they like in the hot water tank under the sink or just kind of scattered around the home? We get them here. How many about? Is it like 20? Okay. And when did you first start seeing it? Perfect. Okay. If it's about 20, there's probably a few of their friends. You might think that there's one mouse inside that you keep seeing, but they usually don't go around in groups. So it's probably a few of them. Let me go take a look at it. And then I'm in.
Yeah.
And just being that level of confidence, but also being the doctor, asking the proper questions You're not gonna, if someone's
Twisting, like telling them what
twisting,
happens when you
right?
don't take care of it.
Exactly, like making sure. I always do a huge pullback. Hey, listen, your house is not going to catch on fire. House won't explode. But they do chew on the wires, and it's hard to diagnose where that comes from. If they chew on
Yeah.
a pipe, it floods the basement. Okay, have you seen them in the hood of your car yet? And then it's like right back into it.
Yeah.
Inflaming the issue without being too confrontational, right?
Right.
And that's how you build the value, right?
Yeah.
I always say, hey, my job's not to scare you, but just so you know kind of why the neighbors are having me take care of them is because you're not the only one that's dealing with this, right? Not going to say any names, but there's quite a few people, and that's kind of the reason I got called out here, and I'm trying to fill up my route while I'm in the area.
Yeah.
I just figured most of the people that were in this block were having the same issues. Kind of comes down to why I want to earn your business, because not only is it going to make it cheaper for me, it's going to make it cheaper for you, but also it's going to help the neighborhood using the same service at the same time with the same company.
Yeah.
So if I can get you done, we'll make it cheap. Before that, though, let me just take a quick look around the home, and then we're in.
For me, so every year, people say like, what were the breakthrough you had from the year before or whatnot? Like, what are some breakthroughs that you've had? So I'd say like me, like figuring out switchovers last year was like a game changer. Learning how to rack was a game changer. I've had all these little breakthroughs. So talk to me about some breakthroughs that you've had. Like you went from rookie 200K, now 750K. Like what were the big changes that you made? What are the things that you think had the biggest impact? Whether it's working the hours, whatever it is.
I would say not. I would say the only thing I could really think about is not thinking that 5 sales in a day is impressive. As a rookie, I would sell 5, and I would sell 7. And last summer, I would get people messaging that, oh, you threw it down, you threw it down. Thinking about it now is hilarious because it's just another day in the office.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing, because that's also the thing that scared me the most when I first started this season, because I remember April Langley, we were throwing down like 6 to 7 sales a day. But no, 6 to 7 sales a day, 8 bombs here and there, 11 or 12 day, whatever it was. Those are obviously good, but those 6 or 7 days, I was like, yeah, bro, like I threw down today. But then I realized that's just what I got to average. That's just a normal day. And that scared me originally because I worked my ass off those days consistently for a week, had crazy big week. And then I'm thinking, that's just what I got to do. And then when I would have days that I'm not doing that, then it would get to me. So I think the mentality of, okay, I got 4 sales now, 5 sales, let's keep going. Like I'm not going to stop. And then consistently having those big days is different than when a normal rep or a rookie or a sophomore would hit 5 sales and kind of be like, all right, I'm safe. And that's the biggest thing in this job, is that mentality that, okay, we're good. It's going to happen no matter what, subconsciously, if you believe it or not. But, when we sell like 7, we're like, all right, now we're just compounding on it. It's extra.
Right.
But having that strict mentality of like, okay, I'm going to keep going until I'm done.
Right.
And building that momentum off of it, you got to utilize that momentum.
The breaking of the
advantage
thermostat.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I can't really think of too many things that
Just
was, like,
everything
the
got a little bit
breakthrough.
better.
It just naturally happened with the goal. I mean, with the mentality change, that's the biggest thing. I think again, shout out to Sam Taggart, sitting in the stands, watching people get the award. I was like, I want to go up on that stage.
Yeah.
And the mentality change of, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say that I'm going to do it. That was the cornerstone.
Yeah, for sure, man. Going down to that door-to-door con is always a big game changer. I remember the first one I went down there, I was looking at the stage, and at that year, 75 guys hit it. And Sam was like, they're going to need a bigger stage. And I was just like, hairs on my arm stood up, and I was like, okay, I got to do it. Up until that point, I never really thought about it too much, or didn't think I would try to do it. For sure. But going down there, just being in the same room helped a lot. Okay, so I want to ask you a question, kind of out of the blue, but what do you say to someone that says the golden door doesn't matter? What's your kind of response to that? Because I feel like I hear it sometimes around the industry, like, oh, the golden door is overplayed. It doesn't matter. I want to get your take on it.
I would agree. Like, to be honest, I mean, yeah, it depends on how you take it, but I agree. The golden door doesn't matter. It was literally 650K last year, and now it's 750K. The rules are changing. So it's not about the golden door. It's not about this award. It's not about uh, exactly just going up on stage to get the recognition. It's about doing what you say. Going back to that, it's about actually having a goal of something and being able to accomplish it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I mean, whether it's a golden door, 500K or a million or 1.5 million, whatever it is that someone's going for, it doesn't necessarily need to have a label for it to have meaning. So if you don't want to have a label on it, and you don't want to, if you don't think if you think the golden door doesn't matter, so be it. What are you doing otherwise?
Mm-hmm.
And what you are doing otherwise is how I'm going to dictate where you are going. So if you don't want to believe in it, that's fine. But if you're a 200K rep or a 300K rep that has a small downline that now thinks that they're in some superiority or some level of authority to other people, who are you to tell me that a goal that I'm setting out for myself to get into a position on a stage or whatever it may be doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Unless you don't see the top reps talking shit about the golden door.
Yeah.
You don't. And the reason because of that is because they know that it's not the actual golden door. It's about doing the work and getting to that position.
Yeah.
So if I agree with you, like the goal, if you don't think the golden door matters, I agree with you.
Right.
Right. But what matters to me is the 750K.
Yeah.
That's what matters to me. And what matters to me is who I become in getting to that position.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You don't see golden doors talking crap about the golden door. You don't.
It's like, you said it so good there at the end there. And it's like, the golden door doesn't matter. The stage doesn't matter. The recognition doesn't matter. I agree with that. But saying the golden door doesn't matter is the same thing as saying goals don't matter, right? Why even go for goals? They don't matter, right?
And I love it because that's my competition.
Yeah.
Keep thinking it. Yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't matter, man. Go for your 200K. No hate for people that do that. I shouldn't have said that. But in reality, it's a certain kind of person that they have some kind of insecurities or jealousy of their own that want to have that mentality. I'm not the kind of guy to just blurt out criticism for things that I don't fully understand, right? If there's like for car salesmen or for anything, for student academic awards, I'm not going to say, oh, that academic award doesn't matter, because I don't understand it. So I would think those people are just illiterate and they're not fully there, and they don't really fully understand the game. They don't fully understand what's going on around them, because if they did, then they probably wouldn't be saying that. So
yeah,
no hate though.
Okay. And what's something in your sales process that you feel you do really well? Like you talked about, like you can read people, but like what's something like a little bit more tactical that you think you do really well, whether it's like icebreakers or whether it's, I mean, you talked about it like twisting, like you're super good at that, but like what's something where you're like, this is a strength of mine in terms of in my sales process? Maybe it's closing, whatever it is.
Honestly, I hate this question. I always get tongue tied. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot about the bugs. I know a lot about my competitors. I know a lot about the process, and I know how to explain things in different ways for different people. Understanding if someone's like a bull or not, and being able to utilize on someone being able to give you the time of day, but not just the time of day for no reason, but also that they've earned your time of day to actually listen to you, and they've earned your pitch to even get into it. And I think I almost test people when I do my pitch really quick at the start of my introduction. I don't make it a long introduction. My introduction is a lot different than yours. When I hear yours, it's like you go over everything and it's dialed. For me, sometimes I throw things out there. If it sticks, it does. Then I go into it. If not, then I go to the next door.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm losing sales. I don't know. But I just do what works. I try not to fix anything that's not broken. And if you want to talk about like specific things, I couldn't. I mean, it's not even every week, not even every different area. It's every hour. It changes the way that I'm pitching people to some extent. But to give an answer, because I don't want to just be so vague, I would say being real is the biggest thing, right? Also understanding that like we are salesmen, we should be proud of it, right? And I always say that. I say, hey, like, little things. Let me be a bit of a salesman with you, more than I've already been. Or hey, I'm persistent with you, but not as persistent as these ants are going to be when they push in. Little jokes, but also letting them know that you also acknowledge that you're a salesman there, because that's what they're subconsciously thinking. Oh, it's another salesman knocking on my door. I put myself in the position of a homeowner, and I understand that I'm not going to say things like, wife's going to love it, or, yeah, man, I'm going to make it like super cheap. It's like, you got to understand a standpoint from the homeowner. You got to put them you in their shoes and understand how they're going to take some things and how different people are going to react to different things that you say.
One thing that you said there that I thought was interesting, everything else I can kind of resonate with, like a bunch of little things, right, added up. But you said you know a lot about the bugs. I would say like I know an amount about them. I probably know like a good fact about a couple of them. But it sounds like you are a little bit more maybe studied. I'm not sure. But like, how did you get to learn about the bugs and facts and about the bugs and whatnot?
Bruno, bug facts, rookie season, every Thursday or something. But no, I mean, I think you can bull crap a lot of it. Just say stuff and they're going to listen to you if you have some level of authority and professionalism. Doesn't all need to make sense exactly, but you get to the level, and this is the difference between rookies and vets, to where you're selling a $1,300 account for millipedes or $1,000 account for pill bugs. And it's those sales that a lot of people would walk away from because they're talking about the spiders, the ants, and all this stuff. Whereas if you were actually able to recognize what kind of issues that they're actually having, and then also understand it to the point where they're like, this guy knows his shit, then that's where you can actually make those sales that a lot of people wouldn't. Another thing that I would do, this is mainly for Chinese people and Indians, is I would show them the slick, and I can be a lot more blunt with them. So I go, hey, so we're taking care of it. And I would show them the slick. They'd be looking at the slick. I'd be looking at them. And I'd say, hey, we're taking care of like the ants, the spiders, millipedes, wasps. And then I would look for when they would twitch. This is a little bit autistic, okay? This is where people are like, this guy's talking out of his ass. But I would look to where they'd be like, right? And then that's where I'd go, okay, I'd go into it before they even acknowledged it. Hey, everyone's seen these millipedes out here. And that's kind of bold. That's why you have to be a certain kind of salesman to say something like that.
Right.
Because if a rookie tried that, they'd be like, dude, I haven't seen a millipede ever. If you're doing that for all the neighbors, you can go do it for them. I'm fine. Whereas if you were to really actually understand, if they, like, by their facial expression, or their vibe, then that's where you can actually go into it and then say, yeah, it's a neighborhood issue. Everyone's seen these millipedes. They curl up at the bottom of the wall voids, just right out by the cracks where the foundation settles after 8 to 12 months, and there's cracks there. They're going to be there dead. They're never alive. If you've already noticed that, it's because the ones that are alive, they are hanging on the wall voids. So we just kind of flush it out. Honestly, this service is not so much for you, but more so for the structural integrity of the home. I'm sure you're not scared of the ants popping up the sandhills. You might hate them and play whack-a-mole with it, but I'm more concerned of making sure that the flush out is taken care of so the structure of the home is kept healthy. It's like an oil change, but for your house. That is so much more of an introduction than we're taking care of all the ants, and you get the idea. So that's why I changed it a little bit, and I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but doing little things like that for me just helped me get those sales that maybe a normal rep wouldn't.
Right. And then you just talked about it before with Bruno, but you're going over like a weekly bug fact and just like always studying
nerd out, actually learn about it. Because if you do, like, I mean, it's pretty crazy to think that we don't. I mean, I don't even think that neither of us, especially myself, do it enough.
Know enough, yeah.
And we should look into it because we're professionals, right? We should know about this stuff. So even just the idea of being like, yeah, so the ants, they have these satellite colonies. When the sun hits them, they'll pop up. They'll make multiple bases towards the foundation of the home. That's where they're trying to get in.
Yeah.
Have you seen the sand mounds right here? Okay, that means they're already in the wall voids, and just being able
Creates
to
that authority.
well, you're able to control the conversation a lot more.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
When you know everything, and I'm sure you get this a lot, but that gets to a point where, of course, the customers that you can tell that they're already sold, and they trust you to a level where they start asking you questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Well, I see this over here. Like, what does this do?
Yeah, you've earned
You
their
start
trust.
spinning
yeah.
out stuff too, and they go, "Oh, okay." And then it gets to a point where they're like actually interested in why everything's happening.
Yeah.
And I even had a sale the other week where they were just like, I was pitching them. It was like three ladies that were all sharing a house,
Mhm.
and they were just each asking me different questions about different things that they've seen, past experience that they've had with different bugs. And I was just for 45 minutes straight answering every single one of their questions, just with like nonstop accuracy. And at the end, they were just like, "Okay, well, you know your stuff. Let's do it."
Yeah.
And being able to be in that position is just where you can get those extra sales. It's a no-brainer to know your stuff.
Right. Yeah. Love it, Ty. Love it, bro. All right, man. Well, I think we put a pretty good dent in things. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a great podcast, man.
I love you, man. Awesome podcast, Ty. Love you, bro. Like a brother.
Brother.
For real, man. Congrats on your golden door. First of many. I think you're just getting started. So I'm excited to see what you do over the next couple of years, man. And yeah, man. Appreciate you, bro. All right. Thank you guys for listening. See you on the next one. Make sure you follow Ty on Instagram at Ty Dayton 99. And yeah, appreciate you guys. All right. Love you.
So much.
Peace.